is just getting started.
We do this and then we wait. We go that way, I think. Yes, let's see what fun play games with. Okay, nothing fun. Oh fuck, I didn't finish that quest. Man, I don't care. Let's fix the Nostormo. And it's time to react some Chinese, China. China Grand Prix, what is call it? F1 2024 Chinese Grand Prix preview, everything you need to know from Autosport. But before we start that, we need to remove one card. So we can do the lame quest. Nostormo done. And now we can start doing the quest. And then we bring up the Autosport. Let's see what they have. Why? What's last time
Formula
also?
1 is heading back to Shanghai this weekend.
Yeah, first time it will be for me to see anything from China. Hello. Not from.
I must not falter.
See a race from China. I've seen a lot of other stuff from China, so that will not be anything news. And probably a Max Verstappen win.
Chinese Grand Prix. A lot has changed since its last visit in 2019.
Yeah, 2019, when Mercedes was actually good.
And this will be the first time that the new regulations will be tested at this track. It will also mark the first time that Formula 1 will have an active Chinese driver contest his home Grand
Yeah, and hopefully he will get some points.
Prix with the Sauber Zhou Guanyu, who will be hoping to.
So hopefully Stroll make bad race.
Delight the home crowd. The 16-turn 5.4-kilometre track hosted its first race back in 2004 and marks its 16th appearance on the calendar. This weekend also marks the season's inaugural sprint race, the first of 6 this season. Let's take a moment to refresh ourselves with the championship stand.
Yeah, refresh all that Lance Stroll and Lewis Hamilton is fighting in the points.
Current reigning champion Max Verstappen leads the championship with 77 points ahead of teammate Sergio Perez. Both of the Ferraris are behind, with Charles Leclerc ahead of Carlos Sainz, followed by the
I mean, hopefully Charles Leclerc start showing that he can do qualifying also, so his race will be 100% much more fun for him. Fuck off cards. I mean, it's so depressing to see him. Was this just Bahrain that he actually did somewhat good qualifying? But since then, it's never been fun for him.
McLarens with Lando ahead of Oscar. In 7th is George Russell, 8th Fernando Alonso, 9th Lewis Hamilton.
Why you Lewis Hamilton? Why are you so washed?
You will not
you fight against Lance Stroll, I mean, I can understand you could know about Lance Stroll and Oliver Bearman.
And 10th Lance Stroll in that Aston Martin. Further down, we have Yuki Tsunoda in 11th, Ollie Bearman in 12th, followed by both the Haas in 13th and 14th. The rest of the drivers are yet to score, but could this be the weekend for them to do it?
Well, let's see. Who can more...
Are yet to score, but could this be the weekend for them to do it?
19. The fuck who are they missing? Really? They skipped Valtteri Bottas and Logan Sargent? Why? That's mean. Now look here, Valtteri Bottas and Logan Sargent, they just stopped with Pierre Gasly. The fuck? Oh, kick Sauber Ferrari. Mistake. F1 team kick Sauber.
What to do?
And Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team.
In terms of the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull Racing leads the way with Ferrari not too far behind them. McLaren in third, Mercedes in fourth and Aston Martin in fifth, very close by those three teams. In sixth there's RB and seventh is Haas, and Williams, Alpine and Sauber are yet to score.
Yeah, no points more for Haas. I mean, RB, Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team can get some more points, but I hope for Williams.
That one was a nuisance.
I don't know how often they change this, but I think in Japan's, I don't know what that come from, but I had the British flag on the Red Bull and on Alpine. Don't know why, but for some reason they had, in my opinion, wrong flag. It should be Austria and France here. I think also maybe British flag from Mercedes also. Don't know what they come from. But
and Williams, Alpine and Sauber are yet to score.
Det här med att vi säljer dagens rätt för bara 69 kronor.
Du får spara in på reklamen.
Kan vi skippa it när vi kan?
Såklart.
Fuck is this?
Vimla, mobiloperatören med bra vibrationer.
My name is Steph Wentworth, and joining me today we have Hayden Cobb and Alex Kalinakis. Welcome to you both.
No. Oh my god, what the fuck did he say? The privilege being in Formula 1, the privilege to maybe get jet lag, the privilege to overwork in Formula 1 probably, I don't know.
Okay,
a lot of privilege from this guy.
Welcome to you both. How is it going?
All good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Alex?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks, Steph. I finally slept through to an alarm this morning after my post-Japanese Grand Prix jet lag. Rather wrecked
the privilege to get jet
my previous week sleep-wise. Still got 8,000 yen to change. I think that's about £40. So that'll be a trip to some sort of bank at some point today. But yeah, no.
2 more games and then we're done with no storm.
The Chinese Grand Prix is going to be an interesting weekend, shall we say. The last time that F1 raced here, actually, Max Verstappen had only won 5 races. Toro Rosso still existed. It was Lando Norris, George Russell and Alex Albon's first season in Formula 1, and also Charles Leclerc's first season at Ferrari. So I think that gives a bit of an indication exactly how much has...
Oh shit, long time ago. When the kids joined Formula 1.
...changed since we last raced in China. and it's hard to believe that that was all 5 years ago. But the return of the Chinese Grand Prix, Alex, are we happy to see it back on the calendar? It's quite the interesting track.
Track-wise, yes, very happy to see it back. As you said, Steph, it's been quite a while since F1 has visited this layout, and that's really what I'm interested in. I think if you think about the circuit, it's one.
What a weird track. It's look like it's really flowing. Or we can wave track.
Time waits for no one.
Oh, fuck me. Weird.
That really favours a driver having a go. If you think of the hairpin at the end of the.
So to place it at. Oh wait, you can maybe overtake. Maybe there. Maybe here also. But holy shit, what a long straight. So you can say 100% 1-2 for Red Bull. So now 3 forward Ferrari. Can this be a bad track for McLaren? Or is this a good track?
First sector, then you've got that long back straight, again leading into another hairpin. And we have seen plenty of incidents at this track. Again, the famous one.
Oh, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. Hype.
Sebastian Vettel, Daniel Kvyat, the torpedo incident back in what would have been that 2016, things like that.
Now we will remember the 2024 race when Lewis Hamilton and Russell crashed into each other.
It is an interesting layout. It's just these things that we're talking about tend to have happened quite a while ago. So, you never know whether that's going to be repeated with the modern cars. Also, as I refer to my notes here, the track layout, incidentally, in terms of literally how it looks, is based apparently on the Chinese Shang character up above. And if that's wrong, please everyone blame Pirelli, because that was in their press release that I've read this morning.
Excellent. So either providing us a very interesting fact or a highly incorrect one. We shall wait and see. Hayden, how are you feeling about F1 heading back to China this weekend?
Similarly excited to see what the track is like with this generation of cars. It does feel like a lifetime ago for obvious reasons that Formula One has raced in China. I think we were all in different roles doing different things back in that 1000th Grand Prix that was back in 2019, before the world changed forever. I from memory, I've always enjoyed Formula One when it's been in the Shanghai circuit. Good racing, like you say, there's plenty of opportunities to overtake, and you should feel that it's the same with this current generation of cars. But there's just going to be so many unknowns for us, and especially for the teams and drivers. Of course, the majority of the grid has at least some experience of the track, but there'll be a handful of drivers obviously have never raced there. But in terms of how the cars behave, in terms of how the tyres behave, in terms of a lot of things, we're going to find out from basically Friday practice and go from there, really.
Yeah, I feel it's very important to note again that there has been this 5-year hiatus. Is there any possibility, Hayden, that the teams can utilise the data that they've had previously?
Yeah, Mercedes is really good with this data. 100% they will make their car really good with that information. I mean, they can't succeed with the information they have now, so it should be.
The last time we ran around China, or is it the fact that there's this new regulation, the new track surface? Will that data not be any use anymore?
Yeah, I'm certainly not an engineer or would go into the details of that. I wouldn't profess to know that exactly, but I think it's fair to say that a lot of the historical data in terms of tyre life, tyre dating will be not that relevant, because the tyre compounds have changed and developed over time. They're a different construct of tyres, and they're bigger tyres than they used last time they were there. So, in terms of what's relevant, sure, breaking points,
value,
and obviously the way the track goes. But even Pirelli themselves have said it is a bit of a step into the unknown to them, because they've not been able to send anyone in advance to re-examine the track, look at the track surface.
Okay, I don't know what the rules are, but and who he talking about? He didn't talk about the teams. I mean, yeah, sure.
Surface where the bumps are, how the
weird.
Behaviour of the surface will be over the race weekend. We expect it to be incredibly green because it's not.
I mean, surely FIA will have done some research before they even get to this place. So from that, they should have some information. I mean, they want to have a safety first, right? We'll look at the safety after someone have died, maybe.
A circuit that's used that regularly over the course of a year. Formula One tends to be its only major championship that goes there previously. So yeah, on Friday it's probably going to be slippy, dusty, dirty. That'll probably be a complaint of the drivers. But there's not a lot.
Or China will do such a great job, so driver will never see any dirt. And it will feel like they have always been there.
Anyone can really do about that given what they're up against. So it is a step into the unknown. I feel like the general gist of how to perfect a lap of the Shanghai circuit will be there, but how to then enact that and deliver it will be a bigger question.
I think it's the green track surface that's going to be key, as Aidan says, because basically this track I don't think it's been used at all since 2019. Like its FIA grade whatever status lapsed. They had to I think last year had to get people in and inspect everything, and various changes had to be made, which we're going to come on to. So,
so some people did at least go there.
That's going to be really key because it basically means there's just no rubber on the surface, and how that then interacts, even like historical stuff laid down in the surface, let alone other categories.
So if it's war, Mercedes will have another fun race. And the tyres will just go off.
It's just not going to be there. So how that interacts with the tyres, which the teams already are pretty open about saying, look, if the slightest things in terms of conditions change, various little elements can really put even a very clever, very sophisticated Formula One team out of whack. So that's really going to be interesting. I mean, the team...
Or just Mercedes, who knows?
Teams at least will know the corner types. Again, we'll come on to what the teams are saying in Japan about who that might favour or who that might potentially hurt. But yeah, it's more sort of the fact that it's a sprint weekend as well complicates everything. So yeah, it's certainly going to be a lot of questions that need answering for all the teams quite early on this weekend.
Alex, you actually just alluded to it in kind of talking about who's potentially going to be coming out on top this weekend. What sort of track characteristics are there?
Sure.
And who do they favour?
So it's one of the rarer front-limited circuits that's on the F1 calendar. So in theory, that's a real big boost to Ferrari. You know, that's something that Red Bull particularly struggles with historically. Struggled a little bit about that in Melbourne, because what that generally leads to is front tyre graining, and that's something that the current generation of Red Bull cars is what considering overall.
Why are you playing this to not try to win? I'm 100% playing this just to lose, because I just want to play a game with Nostormo, and then I've finished the quest.
It's still a massively strong car, and everything's relative, but that is what's sort of consistently seen as like a bit of a weak point for it, and a strength of the Ferrari, because Ferrari's historical strength has been keeping the rear tyres alive, and that's what the RB19 and the RB20 do so well. So yeah, in theory, this boosts Ferrari, as does the fact that the temperatures for F1 races, we think this is a championship that famously chases the sun. You're regularly racing in conditions sort of high 20s into the mid 30s degrees Celsius. The long-term, the forward-looking weather forecast for this race has it at the sort of low 20s, even on race day, sort of a peak there. So again, in theory, that helps Ferrari, because we've seen the cooler races. Right. Again, Melbourne is a great example, and obviously Ferrari won that race. Think back to Las Vegas in 2023, or that was rather more of an extreme example of lower temperatures. Again, that helps Ferrari. But the thing that...
Man, stop talking about Ferrari. Surely Mercedes will also be up there. I mean, let's see, 2022, so 1 year. 2023, there's 2 years. 2024 is now the third year. I don't see why Mercedes shouldn't be good now.
Makes this rather more complicated is obviously this track has got a very, very long back straight. It's got quite a long pit straight, and there's other straight sections and high speed elements that should, in theory, also boost the Red Bull, because we know how good that is in terms of its aero efficiency. So again, it's always the hope that gets you, but this in theory, as I keep saying, should be hopefully rather a more interesting race weekend than perhaps we've become accustomed to, and particularly was the case in Japan.
Yes, there are many different factors that will enter the Grand Prix weekend. One of those being strategy. Hayden, could you kind of talk us through what we expect would be the top strategy and the tyre situation this weekend?
Sure. So Pirelli have gone with their middle
Mercedes will do another one stop, maybe.
range of their compounds.
Lewis Hamilton will be super happy with that.
2, 3, 4, and then saying that I think it was a case of them playing safe, knowing that the C5 or the softest compound was going to struggle to be that much use around.
Oh my god, it's like Alex Albon's cats. They're somewhat C5.
A circuit that takes a lot of energy through the tyres. Whereas C1 probably is going to be one of those that if it is too cold, probably many teams might struggle to fire up at all, or it would just go on and on and on. So having that flexibility
Also last game.
middle range will certainly help.
Hopefully,
Strategy-wise, I think a lot of teams are going to have to base a huge amount on simulation.
Legendary cars. Don't have it.
In a bit, they're going to have one practice session to effectively try and figure it all out in terms of because of the sprint format. They go straight into qualifying after that 1 hour of practice on Friday, and to get through 3 compounds of tyres, knowing how long that soft tyre in this range will last, and therefore impact of how it would look in terms of what strategy predictions, it could sway it either way. And again, you've got to
Mercedes could be really good. So no one.
It will be a very green and dirty track at the start of the weekend, whereas it will rubber in. So with the sprint race, with the Grand Prix itself, it's probably a harder one to call than they probably got for the entire calendar, with the exception of like a brand new track that no one's ever been to, because it effectively is like a brand new track to so many teams right now.
Yes, it will be interesting to see how that first practice session goes ahead of the weekend, which is jam-packed full of...
I mean, it will probably be really good for Mercedes, and then when the sprint race start, or the qualifying for the sprint race, then people will see, oh shit, they aren't so good. And the sprint race even worse, and then the qualifying for the race even worse than that, and then maybe DNF in the race.
Sessions ahead of that. As we said, the weekend sees the return of the sprint races, but the format has changed a little bit. Hayden, again, could you just kind of take us through what those changes are for the sprint for this season?
Sure thing. So your familiar free practice, one and only one, happens on Friday, which is your standard, nothing to worry about there. Then it changes back to, we have not Grand Prix qualifying, but sprint qualifying on Friday as the second session. So that will be afternoon in China, but if you're in the UK or in Europe, still be early morning, but at 8 a.m. And that'll be still the condensed version of qualifying, so there's the shorter sessions, but still your 3 rounds knockout from there. Then we have the sprint race on Saturday morning in China. So if you're in the UK, that'll be a 4 a.m. sprint start, which I'm quite sure how many viewers they'll get from you. But again, F1's
This is the British bias talk, complaining it's early. I mean, just stay up until the race have been, and then you can sleep.
The worldwide sport, it'll benefit other regions in terms of
so why, man, fucking sad lose
TV time. So sprint race, that is largely, in terms of its format and its length, hasn't changed too much. We have a winner, and obviously the points format itself hasn't changed from last year. And then on the Saturday afternoon, we basically revert to what would be a normal race event format, with normal qualifying with its
We're done. Oh no, Stormo.
3 format of the same length that we would regularly see, and then Grand Prix on Sunday. It's the changes to make it a bit more of a I guess, a flowing weekend.
Well,
It
no,
helps
the quest.
with various sort of there'll be the 2 park Fermes, one
Better
after
credit card,
the
fuck
sprint
me.
race, and obviously between practice and sprint qualifying. So therefore, teams will have a little bit more freedom to make the changes if they get it wrong set up, which again is not an impossible thought to have. Over the sprint weekends, they have that second chance going into Grand Prix qualifying and then the Grand
Next
Prix.
account.
Yeah, the part Ferme change is the most interesting element of it, really. But there is a big downside, which is that let's take, for example, the 2022 Brazilian Grand Prix. Like I said, as an example, where Red Bull did seem to get his tyre calculations wrong, was beaten in the sprint race by Mercedes and George Russell, and then it
Yeah, you have to talk about the 2022 race. The only time you was happy that year. Fucking spelling. The latest win from Mercedes. Is it that?
played into the Grand Prix. We'll never know quite how that would have shaped out because of Verstappen and Hamilton running into each other. But basically, if Red
Yeah, oh my god, that race was so rigged against everyone but Mercedes that race. I don't know what's happened, but Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen was fucking... Didn't they collide in the race? That made all the progress they tried to move up ruined. And yeah, and from the start Red Bull didn't get the car right, so it was like a Singapore race for them. And Ferrari, don't know what they did. They were in the state of not using their car so much.
Come in, friend. Everyone.
So Mercedes got an easy win that race.
Bull has got it wrong for the sprint race, it now has the opportunity to get
Fucking
it
no
absolutely
storm
right
here
for the
also.
Grand Prix, and that's the
Fuck
one
is
that
this?
still most people care about. So yeah, it's got the potential. It's got the potential to be a more logical flowing event, but there's a big downside
even
in
have
that
no
it could
storm
potentially
here?
make the Grand Prix lose that element of jeopardy that sprint races were supposed to add.
Well, the driver...
Idag ska vi baka en riktigt smarrig Lillo-bonus.
Ja, då kan
Nås,
början lägga till liten.
Okay, I
Det
have
här
it.
blir mumsigt. Och här
Oh,
har
I can skip it.
Drivers
Fuck
have been
me.
very vocal in the past about
the
how they feel
play
about
out
sprint
too long.
races. You know, namely, current world champion Max Verstappen has not held back in his comments. What have the drivers, Alex, had to say
Fucking
about
no
these changes
storm.
this year? Is there a positive response?
It's more what Max Verstappen was saying at the Japanese Grand Prix. It was more sort of the fact that the first sprint race is happening at a race that hasn't been on the calendar for so long. So he was saying, oh, it's not very smart to do that. So yeah, it's just part of his ongoing and frankly I think wonderful campaign against sprint races. I'm very much against sprint races. I was just like the fact that Max Verstappen...
Hey, I agree. Fucking remove the sprint races. Why have them? They're so not fun.
speaks his mind, and it's something that Liberty Media, obviously F1's commercial rights holder, would very much not like him to be saying because they're so
Yeah, cry more.
keen on it. And I kind of get why. Like they are basically saying, look, we bring you more TV numbers. You know,
And why not have a race on Friday also? Have a race Friday, Saturday and Sunday.
I will fight.
Man, the viewership of Formula 1 will skyrocket in there.
bigger viewership worldwide with a sprint race rather than a practice session. So it kind of makes business sense. I get that. It's just I'm very much more of a traditionalist, and I really don't see the appeal of sprint races at
True.
all. That said, a lot of the exciting stuff I do recognise. Think, for example, 2021. The British Grand Prix wouldn't have happened without a sprint race and Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton colliding there.
Okay. Probably not, but okay. So one race, do you remember that was
quickly.
And that was not even the sprint race. You remember the race.
So you know,
okay.
of course, there are two sides to every debate, but I'm much more in camp Verstappen than anybody else. And then in terms of
Oh my god. The Camp Orange.
In terms of just, again, more specific Japanese Grand Prix driver complaints about the sprint race, Carlos Sainz again highlighting the fact that with only one practice session, there's a bit of jeopardy for the teams in terms of what we saw at the US Grand Prix last year, and that's how a bumpy track surface can mean that the teams are in danger of, you know, running their cars too low, wearing the planks out, and then getting disqualified. Obviously, it's happened to Hamilton and Ferrari's other driver, Charles Leclerc, at Austin. The bumps have been resurfaced on
Hamilton wins the race and then get disqualified. Wouldn't that be the beautiful thing you could ever have seen? The fuck is this?
On the pit straight, we're told. The slight struggle is that the drivers, especially Sainz, seem to be a little bit unsure exactly how much had been resurfaced at the track. So if there's a little bit more, a little bit, you know, that they weren't expecting, that could potentially alter things. But in theory, by removing those bumps, that should aid the sort of plank wear jeopardy, if that makes sense, for this weekend.
And based on kind of all that you've just said, who do you actually think that the track suits the most? Who do you
100% Mercedes, and they will be super good.
think is going to end up towards the front? We've talked about Ferrari potentially being right up there. Is there a chance that they could be challenging the Red Bull?
I would expect so. I mean, again, it's all relative. Like, the Red Bull is clearly the class of the field. If they get everything right, there's no reason to expect them not to win. We just know that these historical things that happen with tyres, Red Bull is as valuable as any other team in terms of occasionally getting things wrong. I always think, you know, the 2021 Turkish Grand Prix and the wet weather there, Valtteri Bottas comprehensively defeating a wet weather master in Max Verstappen. It all came down to the tyres and a changed track surface. So it is possible, but the Red Bull is just so mighty. It's not logical to predict anything other than them being the favourite. But the conditions and the layout should favour Ferrari, as we've said. The cooler conditions also should help Mercedes. Now, I know they sort of were saying in Japan they've made a fair bit of progress in terms of understanding why the car changes so much when the conditions are hotter. But it being cooler, you would expect that in theory to boost them. What I will say is that in terms of who might not do so well, McLaren in Japan very much saying a lot of slow corners, those hairpins that we've talked about, the opening turns that just go on and on and on to the right and then again to the left, spending a long time at low speed. McLaren's really worried. Again, there's a caveat there. There were lots of times last year they said they were going to be terrible.
Did you say anything about Mercedes?
So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
And Hayden,
Oh shit.
But the conditions and the layout should favour Ferrari, as we've said. The cooler conditions also should help Mercedes. Now, I know they sort of...
Yeah, if it's cool, but it's a warm, then they're fucked, right?
We're saying in Japan they've made a fair bit of progress in terms of understanding why the car changes so much when the conditions are hotter. But it being cooler, you would expect that in theory to boost them. What I will say is that in terms of who might not do so well, McLaren in Japan very much saying a lot of slow corners, those hairpins that we've talked about, the opening turns that just go on and on and on to the right and then again to the left, spending a long time at low speed. McLaren's really worried. Again, there's a caveat there. There were lots of times last year they said they were going to be terrible, and they were absolutely brilliant. So yeah, we'll see what happens there.
And Hayden, what about some of the other teams? You know, we've got teams like Williams and Aston Martin with their straight line speed. Could this track kind of favour them? Might we see them kind of overtaking the McLarens?
Oh, first points for Williams
this weekend.
Well, with that one, I would be surprised, and I think like Alex says, I think sure, McLaren probably don't expect themselves to be, I think, fighting at Red Bull and fighting Ferrari, but I would still assume they'd be in that front bunch of your Mercedes and your Aston.
It's not nice to meet you.
In terms of that midfield fight, it seems to rotate every couple of weeks. The AlphaTauri on the whole has appeared to be, at least over those first four races, the slight head of that pack, and they've certainly maximised their opportunities with Tsunoda. In recent races especially, and I feel like that again is looking good. They're in good form, and I feel like that again is the slight head of that pack, and they've certainly maximised their opportunities with Tsunoda in recent races especially, and I feel like that again is looking good. They're in good form. The car, at least in Tsunoda's hands, I think fighting at Red Bull and fighting Ferrari, but I would still assume they'd be in that front bunch of your Mercedes and your Astons. In terms of that midfield fight, it seems to rotate every couple of weeks. The Alpha Tauri on the whole has appeared.
Yeah. Is Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team? Is that really so hard to say? Man, people don't like the new name. Why is that?
To be at least over those first 4 races, the slight head of that pack, and they've certainly maximised their opportunities with Tsunoda in recent races, especially. And I feel like that again is looking good. They're in good form. The car.
Yeah. Probably points for Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. But I want Williams to get some more points.
At least in Tsunoda's hands, looks like.
Or at least 1 point. I mean, if I could choose, I would gladly give. Let's see, where do we have? Let's see, Haas have 4 points, so 2 3 points for Williams. Oh wait, they can't get 3. Or they can get if Sargent also get points. So 2 points for Williams. Wouldn't that be fun?
Like it's behaving well. I think it's bound fair on Ricciardo, given he only did a few hundred meters in Japan. But yeah, again, it all depends on how that front 5 teams battle it out. If any of them hit trouble, obviously like Stroll that we've seen in recent races, or qualifying low down the order, that then opens up the positions that really matter to them. Granted, we know that classifications can be done on countback.
The gambling.
Most 11th places, most 12th places, but I think if you're asking all those teams, when does it really matter and when do they really want to strike, is when those points positions
3 minutes of gambling.
And that hypothetically, if it doesn't become available at China, even though there's technically 2 shots at it with the sprint, it's sort of that well done for finishing 11th, but it means nothing until you get your opportunity and you go for it. But you never know, and equally, there's a home driver that now we're getting onto that hasn't had the greatest starts to the season for
he haven't.
A couple of reasons, a couple of faults his side. This is Joe, of course, a couple of faults on his side, but the team has themselves struggled a fair bit with pit stops with the car as well. Isn't been.
I mean, one thing you can praise them with that the sponsor, they'll 100% go in for it. They're gambling this pit stop with the stake team.
Quite up to standard to fight for.
Maybe you can say it maybe in the contract to I think it's stake. They can't be shown. That sponsor can't be shown. So what is so how can you show stake without the name while you gamble the pit stops?
For decent positions, so yeah, maybe this is what he needs, but I'm sure there'll be a hell of a lot of pressure coming into him this weekend from fans, from home support, from sponsors, from the team itself, because this is probably one of the races that I really want to put on a good show.
Absolutely. And Hayden, to be fair, you segued onto that beautifully. Zhou Guanyu is contesting in his home Grand Prix. Alex, do you think that the points are maybe a step too far? Sauber is not, for the past couple of races, has not been one of those midfield teams that's kind of up there. They have struggled at the beginning of.
If the pit stop were better, they can maybe got some points
this season. Could this be the race where they turn it around?
Yeah, so the elephant in the room is obviously, as Hayden mentioned, the just shocking pit stops that Sauber have had with, the changes that they made for this year just backfiring massively. The team was saying in Japan they expect this is going to be ongoing for at least a little while. I'm sure they'll be hoping that they've got a permanent fix for it at this race, but if not, at least they came back onto the right foot. They had to have naturally very conservative pit stops. I know again we're talking sort of 4 or 5 seconds, which seems incredibly fast, but obviously in comparison to what the top squads are doing at the sub 2 second pit stops, it seems like it's taking an age. But yeah, actually Sauber, to be fair, insisted it had the pace to be in the points fight in Melbourne. Again, we're talking about the track type, the front limited things, the cooler temperatures, all playing that.
I think Saturday better could maybe have also been in points
together.
But Kevin Magnussen ruined many people that race.
Bottas, of course, goes very well in Australia for obvious reasons.
Nice.
But yeah, so in theory, you'd say there's potential for them. But yeah, I just think with Joe in particular, it's really, really important that even if Sauber, just car-wise, is having a shocker or there's more pit stop problems or whatever, as long as he himself is maximising absolutely everything and showing it really clear for the team that he's really leading the way, that's absolutely pivotal for him. If that can be combined with a points run, absolutely fantastic, because he was talking at a team's season launch I went along to at the Guildhall in London back in February. He was saying that, like, the app, the website's crashed in terms of ticket sales for the grandstand that sort of his, it's all branded as the Joe grandstand. It sold out within minutes. People were struggling to even get access into buying tickets there. And that's going to be really important, because if he can combine, you know, the sort of the obvious love and the expectation that his home fans will have with a brilliant result, that really is something to flag to Audi, which is coming for 2026 to take over Sauber, because Audi's been very open in the fact that it just doesn't sell enough cars in China, particularly that electric vehicle market. So, you know, the potential of having a Chinese driver who's doing well really could be quite lucrative for Audi. And we know we've got an issue of Autosport magazine.
Or even better, Lotus come back in Formula 1 with a Chinese backing team. Wouldn't that be amazing? Fucking depressing match.
Coming out this week, the very, very complex driver market, the major potential that there could be huge change at Sauber, because both drivers are out of contract, so many other drivers are out of contract elsewhere. Basically, what I'm getting at is this is a really big opportunity for Joe.
Game.
You know, he's not done too badly. I think if you look back at his F1 career so far, it's not like Bottas has blown him away, and we know Bottas is a very good driver.
Good driver. I mean, sure.
Driver. He's not a great. He's really, really decent. So yeah, again, like I said, if Joe can just show really well this weekend, do what he can, what's in his control, it'd be a really good sign for him.
I mean, Kevin Magnusson, you can say also is good. But Hulkenberg show something that he maybe isn't that so good.
Looking
so
forward
good
to his F1 future.
Exactly. It's a big weekend for Joe, big weekend for all of the drivers, really, on a weekend that is going to be more unpredictable than most. And I, for one, am very excited to see it get underway. Guys, I want to thank you very much for your time, and I want to remind everybody watching that the sprint qualifying is on a Friday with the sprint on the Saturday morning. Just beware of that.
Wait, what?
On the Saturday morning. Just beware. And I want to remind everybody watching that the sprint qualifying is on a Friday with the sprint on the Saturday morning.
Okay, oh fuck. I thought she said sprint race is on Friday.
Just beware of that format. Remember, if you have enjoyed this video and you've liked what you've seen, please subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with our of the F1 2024 season, and we will see you in the next one.
Justice.
Okay, the fuck, what did we learn? Everything you need to know. The fuck did I learn? That Lewis Hamilton is still washed in points. 1000 race happened, maybe China, don't know if that was even mentioned. The race, how this Shanghai race Grand Prix looked like. Really weird. Yeah, I think that was everything that was, I would say, important to know from all this 23 minutes clip. Oh, go fuck yourself. No! My minions is dead. What should I do?
For justice.
Okay, go to next stuff. And that is...
Who goes there?
Yeah, this could be interesting. The Charles Leclerc having problems with his qualifying. The race, why Charles Leclerc is fuck me. So 9 minutes of the race trying to explain why Charles Leclerc is finding F1 harder in an easier Ferrari. Yeah, will I succeed to explain that? Probably not. Will it be really painful to watch that? Yes.
Glory! I'm here for the gold!
You are?
For justice!
We're here to talk about Charles Leclerc, one of the most highly rated drivers in Formula 1, but by his standards, a pretty underwhelming start to the season. Probably the second best Ferrari driver, especially over the past couple of races. Scott, what's going on with Leclerc? Why is he not on top form at the moment?
Yeah, what can be the biggest problem? Let the race explain to you for 9 minutes and you probably understand. So we have, let's see, 7 minutes, so 2 minutes and 10 seconds you can say. But if Ferrari made a mistake dumping Sainz, no they haven't. And then they have, let's see, from 4 minutes and 7 minutes, so 3 minutes about how has Sainz gained an edge. That's interesting. On why Charles Leclerc is finding F1 harder than in an easier Ferrari. So we have actually here, so 1 minute 54, so 3 minutes and 10 seconds of actually Leclerc. And probably here also, who knows? And probably
It's primarily a qualifying issue, which is so rare for Charles, and actually something that he's addressed himself. This is something that he doesn't normally need to focus on or worry about, but he's had a bit of difficulty extracting his full performance and the full potential of the car over one lap in the last couple of Grand Prix in particular, and that has put him slightly on the back foot compared to teammate Carlos Sainz in terms of then getting the maximum result possible. And actually it reminds me a little bit of that little spell he went through last year, which culminated in him missing out on the chance to win the Singapore Grand Prix, the only non-Red Bull win of the season. The fact Leclerc was just not quite as comfortable, didn't quite have everything together in the way that Sainz did over one lap, defined the outcome on Sunday, and that's basically what we've seen the last couple of Grand Prix here.
Yeah, ultimately it comes down to tyre preparation, as he's pointed out. Actually, the race stints have been really good. Remember, it's Suzuka. He did that one stop and no one went further than him.
Yeah,
on the mediums.
Fuck this game. Oh, fuck me. We need to fix that. Nostormo, go away. Worthless piece of shit. Oh my god, I have healing. Man, I should pick that. Do I actually have more healing? What should I remove? Maybe that one. Or that. Okay, much better deck. But it's now time for actually collecting fixtures in Minecraft. So much more fun than Hearthstone can ever be. And in my main account I think I have 100 1,000 gold for one day when Harshan is good again. Probably will never happen, but hey. You need to have some reason to save gold. We quit. And then we still get that background. I wanna know how to fix that. Hey, let's go back to the actually fun stuff. Collecting fishes for all the different variants they can be spawned in. I mean, isn't that interesting? That for me is more fun. Wasting hours to maybe collect fishes that look different from the usual fishes look like than Harshan is. Back to
so it's getting the tyres in the window for that single lap in qualifying, and Australia and Suzuka actually had different challenges in that regard. Australia was more a graining limited one, Suzuka was more deg limited, and it's very, very easy to, Suzuka for example, use up too much.
What are you talking about? Shouldn't you talk about Charles Leclerc?
To the tyre in that high speed sweeps at the start of the lap, and Leclerc's just a little bit less adept when it comes to really, really difficult.
Less adept. Against who? Lewis Hamilton? Charles Leclerc? No shit. Yeah, he could be worse than Charles Leclerc.
Cool. Getting the tyres in the window challenges and doing things like making the flap adjusts as you go through qualifying to make sure the balance is always right. So he's just got a little bit confused. So ultimately I would say that was what limited his qualifying pace in the past couple of races. It's not that he's got slower.
Extraordinary.
Okay. That's okay.
I think
sure.
that a guy whose reputation is so much about his qualifying strength is now...
Yeah, have Carlos Sainz that reputation? Probably not. Wonder why.
Struggling in qualifying, especially when over the winter Ferrari made a big point with their development of saying we're putting the drivers at the centre of this. It's their feedback we're taking on board. This car is
New
ostensibly
fish for the
meant
collection.
to be easier
Hi.
to drive.
I'm not already. Just look at this. So much more fun than Harshan have been. Oh my god, how much have I been playing? So you can say in 50 minutes it has been fucking depressing and not fun playing Harshan, and then 2 minutes in Minecraft already fun. Hopefully I don't have this, because that would be not fun. And let's continue finding more new features for the collection. Oh my god, the nightmare collection, getting every fish that can ever spawn in Minecraft. Or all the different color variants of a fish. Yeah, back to...
It's a very tricky car, and yet Leclerc is struggling to get the most out of it. So why is that?
Well,
yeah.
I would just
wait. The fuck. So 2 minutes and 50 seconds in the clip, you asked, why is that? When you is the one that should explain.
Say on that the main thing is that in the races, Leclerc is getting the most out of the car. So I think.
Wait, what? What do you mean? Is Sainz worse than Charles Leclerc?
The objective of making the car easier to drive has been achieved, and that has been achieved for both drivers. It isn't just that Sainz is just all round more comfortable with this generation of Ferrari than its predecessors, and compared to Leclerc as well. It is that specific issue over one lap with a very good reason for it, if it is in that dark arts of getting the tyre in the right window. Because the fact is, you look at Suzuka, for example, and Leclerc was saying, the lap feels good, and he has done, as Ed was pointing out, enough laps in both of you have said he's a qualifying specialist to some degree. He knows what a good lap feels like, but he's driving at the limit of the grip that he feels is there, and that grip isn't quite at the peak it could be because of that tyre prep. So I think that what Ferrari has done with the car has been achieved, and Leclerc is benefiting from that, just not quite in qualifying at times.
Yeah, and ultimately those changes, the track surfaces are still uncontrolled by Ferrari. The tyres are still uncontrolled. So although you would think that a more balanced car would be a little bit easier to load up the tyres the way you want to, particularly on the prep laps, it's not really quite that simple. And I just think that when it comes to that particular element of the game, he's just not quite as good as Sainz. He's great in terms of the feel of what the tyres can give him.
I mean, sure. Hey, well, maybe not in Q1, but if he would have got 2 tires in Q3, maybe that will change a lot for Charles Leclerc.
So I've got no doubt that, as Scott alluded to, at Suzuka, for example, he was driving to the grip that was there. It's just he wasn't able to prep the tyres to give that maximum grip, that best grip average.
Wait, so if Charles Leclerc now succeed to make the tires, prep the tires, is Carlos Sainz now, shouldn't he get better then? If Charles Leclerc succeed to do good qualifying now again, shouldn't Carlos Sainz then do even better job?
Across the full duration of the lap, that's the really difficult challenge. I think probably in terms of actually what he got out of the grip he had available, it was probably close to the maximum, but it's just he couldn't raise that grip ceiling by getting the tyres absolutely nailed and mastering all those trade-offs over the lap.
So should we be talking up Carlos Sainz a bit more in this conversation?
No.
He's only 4 points behind Leclerc in the championship, having missed a race, obviously, to have his appendix out. He's been ostensibly the faster Ferrari driver in the past couple of races. Especially...
Yeah, a couple of the race. I mean, the only time I saw Carlos Sainz being close to Charles Leclerc was 2021. All the years after, Carlos Sainz haven't been close at all.
Actually, where has this improved form come from, Ed?
Det här är premiärprogrammet av Breaking News. Frölunda, Mora tog chansen i slutspelshockeyn.
I don't care.
Well, certainly, yeah, he's been the stronger over the past couple of weekends, primarily because of the way qualifying's played out. But I don't think this is anything particularly different we're seeing from Sainz. He's had these spells regularly in their 4 years. It's their 4th season as teammates together. So it's just one of those periods. Scott referenced it earlier, that period after the summer break last year, Zandvoort and then Monza and Singapore. Sainz was outstanding and Leclerc struggled, but then the car changed a little bit and then Leclerc was back on top. So we do see these spells. If you look at the statistics, generally it's somewhere in the region of sort of 2/3, 1/3 in favour of Leclerc in terms of the performance. 64% of the time Leclerc qualifies ahead, 68% of the time he's the one who gets the front row, 60% of the race.
I just look so much reward in the play Harstad. Only got 3 more cool fishes.
Perhaps he's been ahead 60% of the races he's finished ahead, but that means that Sainz is ahead quite a bit of the time, and that's what makes him such a strong teammate.
Yeah, for this year.
So I don't actually think we're seeing anything.
Like this year, this start of the year. Then Charles Leclerc will just leave Carlos Sainz behind.
Different. The race performances from Leclerc have still been good. He was the stronger driver on the Bahrain weekend, but had that brake problem in the race. Saudi, we had no comparison. So this 2-weekend sample set, I don't think if we look at Australia or Suzuka, that's anything particularly unusual. We have seen 2 race sequences, 3 race sequences like this before. So Sainz is just doing what Carlos Sainz does very well.
Especially when you consider that even within those 2 weekends where Sainz has been better, I would argue that there is at least a decent amount of evidence.
Yeah, now it looks like it will just be Carlos Sainz.
Leclerc was actually the better driver on the Sunday both times. In Melbourne, his final stint in particular, I think, was very strong. In Suzuka, obviously, Ed mentioned earlier that great management over that first stint to make an unorthodox strategy in the context of the rest of the field pretty much work. So Leclerc has been really strong still on Sundays. Obviously, Sainz has just bought himself track position and that advantage by a better weekend with the nuances of tyre prep and managing it in qualifying. So I agree with...
So if Charles Leclerc succeed to be good in qualifying again, he will finish before Carlos Sainz every time, right?
With Ed, and in terms of the sort of underrated element, like I do think Sainz is underrated, but that's not a reaction to the last couple of Grand Prix.
I think he's overrated. That's why they got Lewis Hamilton than Carlos Sainz.
I think that is just a broader feeling that I have. Some people within the F1 paddock who maybe don't pay as close attention as they should to the way that Sainz goes about his business and the way that Ferrari battle was played out. Some people outside of the F1 paddock who perhaps only see things that I really think that Sainz's season and a bit at Renault, for example, got alongside Nico Hülkenberg, has done a bit of damage to his rep in some people's eyes. But the rest of the time, he's done well against Max Verstappen. He's done well against Lando Norris. He's doing really well against Leclerc.
Yeah, well, that's different than doing great job against a teammate. Like I would say, being good is a big difference than being a great driver. And that's why Lewis Hamilton now is in Ferrari.
He's a very good driver. Is he on his absolute peak over a full season as effective as a driver as Leclerc is? I don't think so. But he's still performing at a very high level.
Well, at the moment.
Okay. Okay, sure, but who you... Oh, new fish. No. Don't look like a new fish. Lime blue. I think I already have it, but who knows? Let's see. Oh, the fuck. What did it say? The sequel of Science.
But he's still performing at a very high level.
Well, at the moment, they've done 3 races together and he's been
ahead.
Oh
yeah, fucking high level. I mean... Sure. Feels like Men is Lance Stroll also performing on the high level. Man, that's a weird fish. But there's the one new fish for the collection. Red and Magnanta. Man, we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. Maybe 7. No, 6, 5 more for the collection.
In 2 out of those 3, so he's having the better season. They've got the same number of wins, 3 each, since they became teammates at Ferrari. It seems like...
Or, yeah, what I would say. If Lance Stroll succeeds to get points every race, is he outperforming the car, or is the car good enough so he can... Oh, 1 more new fish for the collection. He don't want the pumpkin. Grey cyan. Fuck, so many fishes. Yeah, oh yeah. Or bigger or better example with Lance Stroll. I mean, he got podiums or whatever he got in Racing Point. Was it because he was so good at driving, or was the car so good that he could, whatever he did, the car will let him have a good race?
Sainz is getting stronger and stronger as a prospect, and yet in 2025 at the moment he's without a seat. Ferrari are dumping him for Lewis Hamilton. Have they maybe made a mistake in...
Yeah, the mistake.
Pulling the trigger and changing their driver lineup before having a chance to see what Sainz could do this season?
I don't think so. I think Sainz is performing at a high enough level that it required something extraordinary for him to not be Ferrari's priority for 25 and beyond. and that's something extraordinary happened. They saw an opportunity to snatch Lewis Hamilton away from Mercedes, but not only an opportunity, they went absolutely guns blazing into that. They threw.
This will be so interesting to see. What will happen to Mercedes after this? Will they slowly become the new Alpines in Formula 1? After Alpines went to be the new Williams? Could it be that Gasly and Esteban Ocon start driving for Mercedes because they don't make good enough cars for the people that are the greats to wanna be in? Could that happen? And will that lead Toto Wolff selling the team? Because there's no reason for him to be in the team now when the team is so bad.
Everything at it. They put everything on the table to get Hamilton, and that's the kind of thing that was needed to cost Sainz his Ferrari drive. So I still think Hamilton, if you take it as a global view, I think Hamilton is an upgrade. I think there's
Is that really so hard to believe? Think.
Even at the moment, though, with his current form.
Yeah, because I just think.
I mean, sure, I would say Hamilton is washed. Russell is 100% the number one driver. Hamilton should leave and everything, but I would still say he's still better than Carlos Sainz. He's still what can you say, a good thing for Ferrari. Can maybe lead, it can lead to the what's called the construction champion. They could win that because Leclerc and Hamilton gets more points than Verstappen and Sergio Perez can get.
You can just see with what Mercedes is producing and how many times that goes wrong in terms of fixing everything. I don't think you can get a good read from either Hamilton or George Russell in terms of what they've done at Mercedes over 2 and a bit seasons now in this rule set. Look at how different Russell's 2022 and 2023 seasons were in terms of the execution. So that's, Russell didn't get loads worse in 23 versus 2022. So I think it's really difficult to judge the drivers on what Mercedes has done. I think there are enough glimpses of what Hamilton still.
If not Russell is better than Lewis Hamilton, then it's somewhere 100% true. If Hamilton is better than Russell, then we know we can't be sure about the points and the racing like 2023, but 2022 can be 100% go after.
Capable of most of the Suzuka weekend, for example. It's still the blockbuster lineup for Ferrari. It's still.
And maybe this year also, if Russell finish ahead Lewis Hamilton.
An upgrade in terms of a bunch of off-track stuff. I don't think it's a downgrade on track. And ultimately, if you look at the current incumbent drivers, Leclerc is the one with higher potential than Sainz.
So you could just say this 9 minutes, you could just have said Charles Leclerc don't succeed to prepare his tires in the qualifying. That makes when he tried to do his lap in Q1, the time isn't good enough, so you need to use one more tire. That makes when Q3 arrives, he have just one tire to use, and that's why Charles Leclerc have a problem qualifying. Then waste 9 minutes and halfway is talking about science. The fuck is this? Right, sure. Oh, fuck me. Wasted time. The thumbnail have the front wing. Is that really the biggest one of the problems he have? I mean, it can be part of it. Okay, let's see. What more fun do we have? Oh shit, we have F1 Nation. Fuck me. Before that, torture. Let's see what the F1 world have to say. A lot of change since F1 last raced in China. That could be interesting to know.
Hey guys, Sean here, and welcome to the F1 word.
I mean, last time 2019. The good old days for Mercedes fans. When Mercedes was so good that nobody can stop them.
Now it has felt like an eternity since F1 last raced in China, but it's actually...
So 2019 is 2024. Eternity. Let's see. Eternity. Okay. Okay, not a century. The fuck can we call? Oh my god, this. Is that a decade? Årtionde. Okay. Okay, so half a decade he could have said than a century. That's maybe too much.
Actually only been 5 years. However, 5 years is a long time in Formula 1, so I thought just for...
Maybe for a Mercedes fan, it is probably a century. Last time they were good. Man. Wonder how the Williams and McLaren fans feels then. Or Ferrari. They have an even bigger gap.
For fun and because I can, I'd go over just some of the things that have changed since the 2019 Chinese Grand Prix. There's been a lot, so just some. So first up, and unsurprisingly, there have been a lot of driver transfers over the last 5 years. At Shanghai in 2019, Valtteri Bottas was still at Mercedes and was enjoying a very strong start to the season, arriving in China at the top of the Drivers' Championship, a point clear.
Oh, hype! Oh my god, that's depressing. Max Verstappen. 3rd place. Can't be fun being a Ferrari fan seeing this.
Of his teammate Lewis Hamilton, who would go on to win the race and top the standings at the end of the weekend and, of course, at the end of the season. Sebastian Vettel was still racing at Ferrari, but alongside new teammate Charles Leclerc, who was in his second F1 season, and Pierre Gasly was Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull, although we all know how that ended. McLaren were running Lando Norris, who was in his rookie season, and Carlos Sainz, as well as Renault engines, by the way. Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg were teammates at Renault, and that was the 3rd race for the Aussie at the team following his shock decision to ditch Red Bull in favour of a move to Enstone. A decision 5 years later many people are still questioning. Toro Rosso, as they were known then, a far better name, by the way, than RB, had Daniel...
Okay, so I don't know if one they are called RB, but it's Visa Cash App RB Formula 1 team. So it's 100% a great name.
Fiat and Alex Albon driving for them. Albon, another one in his first F1 season. Racing Point, as they were imaginatively named back then, although still better than RB, were still a thing, and that's where...
RP.
Sergio Perez was racing. Alfa Romeo had Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi on board, and Roman Grosjean was still racing in F1 at the then Rich Energy Haas F1 team, the Rich Energy saga. And down at Williams was a young George Russell, not that he's old now, but he was in his first season, with Robert Kubica alongside him, the pole returning to the grid to much, rightly so, fanfare at the start of that season.
Fuck is so loud.
So, Bottas now at Sauber, Gasly at Alpine, Sainz at Ferrari, Ricciardo at RB, Hülkenberg at Haas, Albon at Williams, Perez at Red Bull and Russell at Mercedes have all moved teams at least once since 2019, with Vettel, Kvyat, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Grosjean and Kubica all moving on from F1. Hamilton, for now. Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, Stroll, Magnussen, albeit with a break, have all chosen to stay put. Esteban Ocon rejoining the grid in 2020. Fernando Alonso returning in 2021. And Zhou Guanyu, Oscar Piastri, Yuki Tsunoda and Logan Sargent all join the F1 grid in the year since the sport's 1,000th World Championship race. Yes, China 2019 was F1's 1,000th World Championship race. Remember all that hype? It hasn't just been the drivers shuffling around over the last few years, though, with team bosses and team ownership also changing since that race in China. Mattia Binotto was the boss at Ferrari and remained in place until he resigned in December 2022 to be replaced by Fred Vasseur. Vasseur himself, of course, being in charge at Alfa Romeo back in 2019. Cyril Abiteboul, remember him, was still at Renault and at war with Christian Horner, not literally, obviously. Gunther Steiner was still the team boss at Haas and held that position until the end of 2023. Andreas Seidel, now working on Audi's F1 project, was about to start his new job as McLaren team boss. Otmar Safnauer was the boss at Racing Point. Franz Tost was still at Toro Rosso, another one who stayed in his post until the end of last year when he retired. And Claire Williams was still in charge at Williams, a position
this much I know, but don't think I know. Nope.
He held until the team was sold back in 2020. That all means...
Yeah, not seen, because 2021 was when I started watching.
Only Christian Horner and Toto Wolff remain at the teams they were with at the 2019 Chinese Grand Prix. Horner now the longest serving team principal of the current bunch. On top of all of that, the Alfa Romeo name has disappeared, with the team now called, insert sponsor here, F1 Team Sauber.
Stake F1 Team Kick Sauber.
Racing Point now carries the Aston Martin name. Williams, of course, have been sold to Dorilton Capital. And although still owned by Renault, the Enstone team has taken on investment and on top of that is now known as Alpine.
Jag visste att min farfars farfars Sven föddes i Örebro.
Nice.
Genom Ancestry fick jag reda på att han var bonde och att han tog med sig familjen till Nordamerika 1854 efter att bränder överlagt.
Just as expected, as the driver and team changes, the rules have undergone several tweaks and changes since we last saw cars on track in China. We've seen a ban on engine party modes, floor tweaks, and many more tweaks through technical directives and other means. We've also seen DAS come and go and change to the size of the wheels and the tyres. But the big and really the most noticeable changes at a glance came in 2022, when the sport underwent the biggest shake-up of aero regulations in its history with the move to ground effect cars. Teams also now have new financial regulations to follow, the cost cap if you will, as well as a new sliding scale that sets the amount of aerodynamic testing teams get, the champions are getting the least and the team in last place getting the most. All of which were designed to work together to close up the pack and give us closer racing on the circuit itself, something that has worked very well through the rest of the field, but clearly not at the front. Red Bull winning 41 of the 48 races since the big regulation changes fully kicked in. Not necessarily relevant to China 2019, but well worth a mention, I think. Sprints have become a thing since China 2019 and have been...
Oh my god, yeah. Depressing. Sprint
a rip-roaring success, at least that's what F1 tells us anyway.
Yeah, true. The greatest success in Formula 1 is this. Nice. You can't compare to anything else. Sprint races. It will go down in the history to the best thing that have ever happened in Formula 1.
They've undergone many tweaks since their introduction in 2021 and the first sprint of the current...
Fuck me. Man. So this is the only thing, the bad that happened 2021. Sprint races.
Season is, as it turns out, in China, which could cause a chaotic weekend. Very much looking forward to that. As well as a new format, we've also seen a fair few tracks permanently added to the calendar in the last 5 years, including races in Saudi Arabia, Miami, Qatar and Vegas, as well as returning to Imola and Zandvoort, of course, in 2020 and 2021. We also saw the likes of Turkey and Portugal host races to help fill the calendar during the pandemic, as did the Nürburgring and Mugello. F1 even raced around the outer loop in Bahrain, which gave Sergio Perez his first win, so that was fun. We have also lost tracks, though, with France, Germany and Russia falling off the calendar for very different reasons. Bring back Hockenheim. When the lights went out in Shanghai 5 years ago, Lewis Hamilton was still...
Can I just look? Oh, fuck me, white. The fuck am I white? Oh. They should be on this side. Green and green. And this is just two fishes with same color, and the second color is different. And then all the different colors that exist need to be placed. Yeah, black and then every other color. Man, so much work. Still more fun than Hearthstone.
A 5-time world champion and would, of course, go on to win 2 more to become a 7-time world champion. Maths. Max Verstappen, though, had 0 titles to his name and has gone on to become a triple world champion, and many would argue looks set to make that 4 and 5 by the end of next season. This one caught me out. It is also worth mentioning that the Dutchman had just 5 wins and 0 pole positions under his belt. His first pole not coming until Hungary later that year, and he now has 57 wins and 36 poles to his name and is 3rd on the list of all-time race winners. Mercedes added more titles to the record books with Constructors' Championship success at the end of 2019, followed by titles in 2020 and 2021 to make it 8 in a row, a record-breaking 8 in a row. Red Bull have won the last 2 Constructors' titles and so now have 6 overall. Hamilton and Verstappen have also smashed a number of F1 records in that time too. Hamilton becoming the drivers to take the most wins with a total of 103, and since the 2019 Chinese Grand Prix has gone on to be the first driver to hit and exceed 100 poles and 100 wins. Verstappen
and it will probably not get more from him.
Set the record for the most wins in a season twice with 15 in 2022, beating that in 2023 with a total of 19. That means he now has the highest percentage of wins in a season at 86.36%, as well as the most consecutive wins with 10 in a row. Now, there are other records, of course there are, but those are the ones I picked out for this video. Let me know if you've got any more in the comments down below. And to round things off for this random, daft, fun little video, I'm going to do some quick fire mentions, so here we go. The world has gone through some big changes since that race in China in 2019. For example, nobody knew what COVID-19 was, but it resulted in the next 4 scheduled races in Shanghai being called off and a delayed and shortened 2020 season. Michael Massey took over the role of race director following the passing of Charlie Whiting just before the first race of the 2019 season. Massey was seen as an up-and-coming race.
Yeah, and he did a great job. The last race, 2021. Man, that's what beautiful.
Direct, having done a good job as Whiting's deputy and was still in the role at China, holding it until after the, well, yeah, you know the rest.
Yeah, that was most amazing thing I ever seen. He should have got promoted.
Pierre Gasly, Sergio Perez, Esteban Ocon, Carlos Sainz and George Russell have all gone on to become Grand Prix winners. Yes, Oscar Piastri won a sprint as well. Some of the young drivers we've seen debut were super early in their careers. Yuki Tsunoda was about to start racing in FIA Formula 3 and the Euro Formula Open Championship. Oscar Piastri had just started the 2019 Formula Renault Eurocup season, racing under a British licence, by the way. Yes, really. And Ollie Behrman, who filled in for Carlos Sainz at Jeddah in 2024, was just 13 years old at the time of the race in Shanghai and was still karting. Ollie Behrman was 13 the last time we raced in China. I was 33. Bloody hell.
Oh. So near 40 now, maybe?
Worth noting, Logan Sargent was about to start racing in F3 for the first time, and Zhou Guanyu was racing in F2 for, again, the first time. Back in 2019, cars were heavy, but not to the extent they are now. So much so that they used to have paint on them. Yes, paint, I know, right?
Yeah. This can't be good for Formula 1, having so much paint. Man, remove the paint. The black cars is so much
It'll never
better.
catch on. And lastly for today, Valtteri Bottas has become an honorary Australian. He also has a mullet and a moustache now, and appears to have embraced the fact he is a bit of a walking meme. I mean, why not? Championship leader to honorary Australian, quite the turnaround and probably the biggest journey anyone's been on in F1 since 2019. That, by the way, is sarcasm. That is it for this one then. Like I said at the start of the video, just a little bit of fun today, but let me know down in the comment section if there's anything you would like to add to this. There are plenty of things that could have made the list, I'm sure. Now, I will be back soon, but in the meantime, if you did enjoy this one, then please do leave a like, as it really does help the channel out, and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on any future videos or streams. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.
Yeah, true. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so drivers. And the fuck. Huh. Have not seen this champion shirt. No, it looked like almost like a an animal or something. Tiger, lion. And then you look here. No. Okay, let's see. Well. Time for truly painful stuff. Fun Nation with Tom Clarkson, I think. Twists and turns in Shanghai, ? 2024 Chinese GP preview F1 Nation podcast, and then we have Yogan Joe. Yep.
For the first time in 5 years, Formula One is back racing in China. Hello and welcome to F1 Nation, our second show in just a few days. In case you missed it, we did a special episode all about Fernando Alonso's decision to stay with Aston Martin. You can scroll back on your podcast feed to listen to that. This episode is our preview to the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm Tom Clarkson, and I'm joined by...
Fucking me. I was right.
1996 world champion Damon Hill and former McLaren driver
oh my god, the lost episode with a fucking person from Aston Martin. Men the kopian av online Stroll was... Nah, that was sad.
Current Aston Martin ambassador Pedro de la Rosa.
Yeah, probably him.
Guys, it's good to have you on the show. Now, we were busy with Alonso in our last episode, and I didn't have the chance to ask how you've been since Japan.
I'm very well. I've recovered because we, as you know, well, I can't really complain because everyone in Japan actually was in Japan and are now recovering from jet lag and a flight, whereas we were doing it from a studio, which was a bit odd. Getting up in the middle of the night to cover the race, but anyway, it was that was interesting. I was a bit remote, but hopefully the viewers enjoyed it, and it was some good, interesting races in the strategy area. You know, a couple of good drives, and I thought it was a good race.
I've just returned from Japan, so happy to be back, but also very happy because I hadn't been in Australia nor Japan for 11 years. So it was fantastic to be back there and meet a lot of friends and see that, especially, you know, I lived in Japan 3 years, so it was really good to be there again. And honestly, I just found that Suzuka remained unchanged, which is really, you know, it just stays genuine as it always been.
There is something magical about Suzuka. I remember Pedro back in 1999, your first season of Formula One, and you told me it's brilliant being in Japan because you're 7 hours ahead of Central Europe, 8 hours ahead of London, and we've all had Monday when they're still waking up, and I've sort of lived by that whenever I'm in the Far East ever since. I love just the fact you're on that side of the world.
I love to feel being ahead. And the good thing of traveling to the East is that you are always, you're waking up, you're doing your homework, you're preparing all your emails, you're just training, and then by the time Europe wakes up, you've already killed them with emails and stuff, you know, for them to be working. So you always feel ahead, and then at one point you switch off your computer, your mobile phone, and you go to sleep, you know, and let them work.
The competitive streak stretches all the way to the time zone. I mean, I can see what's going to happen now. We're going to be on the date line, aren't we? Where's that? Fiji or somewhere? just to be one step ahead. Hopeless cases.
Well, and for the teams that have stayed in Japan, it is just a 2-hour flight from Tokyo to Shanghai. Are we all excited for Formula One's return?
Yes,
to
we
China?
are. We are
It's
hyped.
amazing when you. I just looked at the rerun of the last race there, and wow, how the world has changed. Valtteri Bottas was on pole position. I mean, it's just
Yeah, that we will probably never see again. And Lewis Hamilton can actually win the race.
astonishing, isn't it? How far you. And Carlos Sainz was in a McLaren.
I think we're all looking forward to it. Really, 2019 was the last time there, and how are we going to find the circuit? Has it evolved? Has it changed? I mean, I think there's so many unknowns really that it just makes it. Plus the fact that you're going to a massive country, great country with a fantastic track. I mean, let's not forget that the Tilke track, the Shanghai track, is beautiful. It's a great racetrack. You can overtake. There's a lot of type of corners. The weather is always challenging. It's just I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and the appetite of the Chinese fans for Formula One. We got Zhou Guanyu on the grid, the first full-time Chinese driver. How is that gonna affect things? He's got his own grandstand opposite the Sauber pit garage this year. It's sold out in 4 minutes.
Wow.
That gives us an indication, I think, of how different it's going to feel. But as you guys say, last time we raced in China was 2019. Lewis Hamilton led Valtteri Bottas to a Mercedes 1-2, with the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel taking third. This year is the first time the current generation of cars has raced at the Shanghai International Circuit, so there are a few unknowns going into the weekend, and it's the first F1 sprint of the season as well. So before we discuss who's going to be competitive, let's just remind you of the schedule. On Friday, the first practice session is followed by sprint qualifying. That's new for this year. On Saturday, we have the sprint race in the morning, followed by qualifying for the Grand Prix in the afternoon, and then it's 56 laps of racing on Sunday. And do check the official Formula One website or app to find your local timings for each session. But Pedro, let's start with you. You raced in Shanghai 3 times with a best finish of P5 for McLaren back in 2006. Can you take us through a lap of the track and tell us about its main characteristics?
Yeah, well, it's a very complete track in the sense that you go into turn 1, for example, you carry a lot of speed in, you hardly brake, you just downshift through the gears, let the engine the engine stop you around the corner. It just tightens, it's just every meter just becomes slower and slower, so you just have to work the car on entry stability. There's a bump going into the first corner, and you just have to make sure that you use the engine, not too much the brakes to stop the car, because then you carry a lot of speed in. You need a strong front end to make that tight corner. It's around 270 degrees, really tight, change of direction, important to...
Yeah, quite now. We need to fix something. Cyan purple. And then we need to... Where is my extra bucket? And then we hope no more fish will be seen that are worth keeping.
Put the power down. You need a lot of good traction coming off turn 3, and then after that it's a bit stop and go. You just go into turn 6, which is a very second gear corner, very slow with hard braking, good overtaking opportunity as well. You come out of that corner, it's just the most beautiful part of the circuit, which is turn 7 and 8, which is 7 will be flat easy, I guess, with these ground effect cars. Then turn 8 is a change of direction, high speed, also a bump going in. You just downshift and put the power down again. Then 2 left-handers, which are quite easy, to be honest. You just need a good traction to come out. First DRS zone. Another good braking corner next, turn 11 and 12. It's very slow. Just have to make sure that the car jumps over the inside curve as much as you can and straight line as that corner. And then there is this turn 13, which is long, very long, banked, flat, which is just flat in qualifying. Then in the race, the rear end always wants to step out and leads you to the 1.2 kilometer long straight, DRS again. Just need good efficiency, and it's where a lot of the lap time is in how quick your DRS effect will be, and also the top speed. Last 2 corners, hard braking, turn 14, which is the best place to overtake. There's been so many different lines there going in. You just have to protect, but if you overprotect on the entry, you will be slow on the exit. And then the last corner, which is medium speed, and it's just a 90-degree corner, which is easy to overdo it and go wide. So all in all, there is corners of all type. You have low speed, you have braking, you have hard braking, you have high speed, 7 and 8 as well. So it's a difficult track for the car, I would say, because you need, and also you need efficiency.
So we can't say Mercedes will be really good at this.
On the straight, to be fast on that 1.2 kilometer straight. So it is demanding, I would say, on the cars more than on the drivers.
They've gone a step softer with the tyre compared to Suzuka, haven't they? Which you say it's demanding. Is it not as abrasive then?
Well, it's a good question, Damon. I mean, I think that one of the questions that everyone was asking in Suzuka was, especially the drivers, is what type of asphalt and circuit are we going to find? You know, there hasn't been hardly any proper racing for several years. Have they resurfaced the track? We're not aware. It was already pretty abrasive, so just if they haven't really resurfaced the track, it will be even more abrasive. But it is always, China has always traditionally been a one-stopper, mainly because you lose 24 seconds plus on the pit stop.
So maybe it will not be a one-stopper now. Hi, it will be a... Yeah, what race did there so many pit stops now? Was it Japan?
So you always try to do just one stop. We'll see. I don't know. I think it's great. You know, I think that the fact that there's so many questions that we don't know. In the simulator we don't have the actual roughness and evolution of the track asphalt from 2019, which makes it challenging. The fact that Tom was saying we have a sprint weekend in front of us. How good is that? No, how good is that going into a sprint weekend without having a lot of testing? It's a challenge. It's great.
Oh, so you do welcome that, because I was going to ask. You know, just that.
Fuck sprint race.
One practice session before going into sprint quali is massively demanding for the team.
I'd like it, Pedro. I think any time that the format is turned on its head, there's opportunity.
Yeah, and who needs it? Mercedes, okay.
No, it's a bit like when it rains or something like that. I think you've got more chance. It's not good if you're at the front, because you want to preserve your position, you want to protect, and you want all things to be equal, because then you know you're going to be quick and you're going to be on front. But if you've got uncertainty, I think that's great opportunity for people who...
Yeah, you should try to watch IndyCar. No Formula 2, Formula 3. Maybe you don't wonder why.
Ordinarily, like people like Fernando, I'm sure he'd love it.
Fernando, actually, what he would like is to go directly into qualifying. I mean, he sometimes mentioned it.
Why even qualifying? Just start a race, and who gets around the track first get to start on pole position, and then you just... Wouldn't that make interesting race? People that take long time in the pits can make a car better in the race, and the people that can put together the car fastest can maybe just get pole position so PC. and then they maybe have a bad race car, but maybe they don't have a bad race car. Wouldn't that be super interesting?
He doesn't need to warm up. He doesn't need another set of tires to go faster. It's just bang, you know, the first lap is it. That's it. That's the fastest he will be the whole weekend.
Time
because
to
he
get some iron
to get up to the speed. So, but I think it's good. It's good for the drivers to adapt. You know, to make sure that they don't have too much time to change the car setups, to learn the tricks of the track. So I think sprint format always helps. Makes the best drivers shine a bit more.
Best drivers, but also the best cars, right? So Red Bull will go into this weekend feeling pretty confident.
That will always happen.
And 100% Mercedes also. They are one of the top teams, right?
I mean, the reality is that the best cars will always shine, but the best drivers sometimes are not given the chance, because by the time you get to Q3, for example, all the drivers have had like 8 or 9 set of new tires really to find the limit. That is the biggest difference.
Well, look, who is this track going to suit? So,
Lewis Hamilton.
If you're quick at Suzuka, you're going to be quick anyway, right? So, Red Bull go in as favourites. What about the battle between, let's say, Ferrari and McLaren?
What the fuck? Not much. I feel like Tom Clausen being kidnapped. The true Tom Clausen will just said Mercedes also. Probably said Mercedes first. Or maybe second. No. The teams like Ferrari and 100% Mercedes will also be in that category. The fuck have happened, Tom Clausen? Don't you believe in Mercedes?
How do you see that one panning out this weekend?
I think McLaren are worried about their straight line speed. I think they were saying that in terms of this event, they're going to just have to, be tough and grin and bear it, because I think they're going to suffer on straight line. But I mean, them high speed and medium speed is quite good. But I think when they got on the straights, I think they were quite dragged. For some reason, their car's draggy. I don't know. They seem to run quite a lot of wing, but I'm not. I can't honestly say that that's a scientific analysis. It's just something that looks.
Don't know what happened, but one day the person could lay on the ground, and that was weird.
It looks like that on the telly, but no, that's what they think they're gonna be. But definitely tyre preservation. If Ferrari have shown that they've got,
Mercedes have also shown maybe.
Amazing stint, albeit in clean air in Suzuka.
Amazing stint. Lewis Hamilton really like the one-stop stint in a Mercedes.
You get clean air on the car, you can go for a long time, and that's really a factor which you can't predict. I mean, you have to stay out when everyone's pitted, and then you've got clean air, but or you're a long way behind the people in the lead. So you've got 2 ways to get clean air: be in the lead or be very slow.
It's interesting how Andrea Stella, the team principal of McLaren, said on F1 Nation last week that it's going to be a straightforward development battle between Ferrari and McLaren this year. But
the fuck, still no Mercedes. Man, there's some Tom Clausen 100% got kidnapped. It's an imposter. That are on F1 Nation now.
He does think McLaren can win a race in 2024. I thought that was especially bullish from him, given how they were outpaced really at Suzuka by both Ferrari and Red Bull.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think that Andrea knows more than us, about their development program. So I think that he's banking those comments based on the fact that he knows that they will have some upgrades soon and that they're doing well. Normally you wouldn't say something like that if you don't know, you had more information. But it will be an interesting race, China, in the sense that I think that we have seen from the very first races that Red Bull continues to be extremely strong. It's a very versatile car, so works in any type of corners at different ride heights. It's not very much affected by the wind gusts as other teams. So they will be the car to beat. I mean, that's not. But I think that the important factor here will be how much degradation there will be. If it's a high-deck circuit, it will benefit Ferrari because they have proven to be a very good car team managing the tires. So we will see. We will see, but it's going to be a tough one, really, on the teams and the drivers, because it's as we said, it's a sprint format.
It seems like everyone is either starting a side.
Oh no, go fuck yourself with your
knee skills. £1 per month. Pedro, can we talk a little bit more about Aston Martin's start?
Yeah, true. Will Lance Stroll be good in this race also? Like he always are against Fernando Alonso.
To the season. The team was second in the constructors' standings after the first 4 races in 2023.
And now they're nowhere, thanks to Lance Stroll.
Okay, that did include a sprint race in Baku, so there were extra points available there. But this year, after the opening 4 races, you're 5th with only 33 points. What's your assessment of the job the team's doing at the
moment?
Well, I mean, it's true that last year by this time we had many podiums, and but if you look at the difference with Red Bull, I think we
and who got that podiums? Was Lance Stroll one of them, or was just Alonso?
Closer this year than we were last year. The fact is that we have a very strong Ferrari, a very strong McLaren this year.
But we are a strong team in Aston Martin. Lance Stroll is part of it.
Whereas was not the case last season. So all in all, I think we are closing the gap, which is the first.
With Alonso, Lance Stroll. I think Alonso have already done that.
Target, and after that we are improving the car massively on the.
Yeah, and we saw that Lance Stroll got no points because of that. That improvement.
Race degradation, basically. We're strong in qualifying. We had a lot of degradation in Bahrain. We have improved that massively over the past few races. So we went to Jeddah, for example, and it was a low deck circuit, and everyone said, yeah, okay, but you improved that degradation because there was not a lot of degradation. In fact, with the hard tires, it was almost zero. And then we were here in Suzuka with a 2-stopper with a very high deck race in front of us, and we dealt with that very well. And also starting on a soft tire when everyone was on a medium to start with, some even with hard. So all in all,
yeah. And who had soft in the end? Lance Stroll. Did he get points? No.
I think that there are many positives in the season. But I understand that everyone wants us to be on the podium. We also, that's the next point.
Yeah. And when you are, who will get the podiums? 100% Lance Stroll.
Now we are closer to the front, but we have to be even closer because there's other teams that have done a better job, which is Ferrari and McLaren at the moment.
What did the updates that you guys ran into?
Oh, that's true. Skip Mercedes.
What did they deliver in terms of performance?
Well, it's always the same fight to get more points of downforce, less drag. You know, it's been like this since Damon times. Really, he hasn't changed.
And he killed both the zombies.
I'm trying to think how far we can go back to since they invented the wheel. I think you might. Well, since they started going faster than about 30 miles an hour, probably.
Yes. So that is the game. I mean, we just all the teams are on this development phase, trying to introduce changes that make the car have more downforce, less drag, but also easier to drive. You know, because I think that is also a point that if you make a car that works all through the rear right height, you just make a car that is easier to drive in high speed and low speed corners.
Do we talk about Lance Stroll or just Alonso here? That trying to make the car better for who?
Because with these ground effect cars, they're really peaky.
Oh, shit.
You can make a car really good in low speed, but then it's terrible in high speed. So you just have to make sure that you widen the operating window of the rear right height. That is key. That is key, and the control porpoising. So it's not. I mean, of course, the game is points, more points of downforce, less drag. But there's other side effects that were not as important as they are right now, and that's why it's so difficult. You have a new aero package, and you need to to do an aero map. You need to understand the aero package, where it works, how to set up the car, the rear ride height, the front ride height. It is so complex nowadays.
Pedro, one last thing about Aston. Lance Stroll came on the radio in Suzuka and was bemoaning the straight line speed.
Will more copium happen?
He also said that he had the wrong rear wing, but why was he struggling so much compared with Fernando?
Well, it's just we had a new aero.
Yeah. Why is this a big difference? Because Alonso and Stroll.
Package, as you know, and we had the FP2 was wet. So therefore, there were a lot of things we wanted to try with the new aero package that we didn't have enough time. Fernando was.
Yeah, not enough time. Lance Stroll got more time than Alonso.
With the old aero package all through Friday. So therefore, for Saturday, we went on different directions. Fernando ran less downforce and Lance went for a higher downforce package, which was not the good decision really, and he was struggling on straight line speed. He then qualified badly as well, and it's very difficult to overtake with a faster car overall if your top speed is lower. So that was the main reason. But anyway, it was we took some decisions based on a very limited running on Friday, and they were wrong.
Limited run. I mean, it was limited, I think, for Alonso, maybe. I think I remember something about that. Or was it just recorded that had a limited time? Oh yeah, that Alonso had limited time with the new stuff, yes. The test with Lance Stroll with the new stuff, and Alonso didn't. And then Alonso got the new stuff. That was limited.
Let's talk about Williams. Paul Logan has had a really tough start to the season. What advice would you give Logan Sargent in terms of
get good,
his driving, his mental approach, given everything he's been through?
There's only so much you can do. There's things you can affect and things you can't affect. And the things you can affect, obviously the things you need to put all your focus on. And that means driving. I mean, I don't know whether, I think that his crash at Suzuka was a sign that he felt he had to do something brilliant, you know, as soon as possible. And I think that the panic should not set in. You need to keep a cool head and just say, listen, there's only so much you can do, and you have to drive a little bit within yourself. You can't suddenly, you know, become Max Verstappen in one mighty leap. You know, you have to know yourself. So if he just does a good solid job in whatever race he comes up against and just puts all the rest of it out of his head, because there's nothing he can do about it anyway, then we'll see what happens.
My best advice would be work hard, do a lot of simulator days in the factory, make sure that there's nothing, no wheel and turn or, you know, from his side, and also remind him that not all the mistakes have been done by him. Let's not forget that the crash in Australia was Alex.
Yeah, that one crash. So second crash with Alex Albon or May. Did Alex Albon crash some more? Or was it just the race? Probably it was.
Albon that crashed the car, destroyed the car. And
he also the one that also can get on points also, so I don't know.
We just like, I mean, we are seeing many crashes from Williams drivers, some unfortunate. We're just focusing on Logan Sargent, but come on, man. I mean, I think we have to...
Come on! Man, it's not like protecting, almost like how we protect Lance Stroll. I mean, come on, man. Other people is also bad. So he can also be bad.
To give him a break as well. It's not only him there. There's been mistakes, some unfortunate racing incidents like Suzuka, which can happen. And just work hard, keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that not because you feel unhappy or depressed at one point, you start not working as hard, because it's very difficult to keep pushing yourself every morning if things are not going your way. And that's it.
So
I'm pretty sure he will turn the wheel.
It's almost like just got to take everything corner by corner. Literally, just don't. All that matters is doing each corner right. You join them all up together, and the lap will be better. And then you've got a better lap, and then you go out again, and you've got that. That's your foundation. It really is. You can break it down into making it very, very simple rather than complicated.
Damon, when you started talking corner by corner, and given that we're talking about Williams, I immediately assumed you were talking about, well, the front right's been taken off, now the rear left's been taken off, because they have had 3 big crashes in the last 2 races, haven't they? Alex Albon's car was written off in Australia. Logan Sargent had that big impact in FP1 in Japan. That meant he missed the following session. And then, of course, Alex, as you say, just had that collision with Daniel Ricciardo on the opening lap. I mean,
so depressing.
Given that they don't have a spare chassis and they won't have one until the Miami Grand Prix in a month's time, does that change your approach in the cockpit? Are we going to see them not going for those 50-50s, whereas they might have in the past? It must play on your mind, given everything the team's gone through.
Well, I think that it does. It does at one point. I always say that you always have to be careful if you don't have enough spare parts. Sometimes it's front wings, I mean, it's not always the monocoque or the spare chassis. We're living in the budget cap era, which means that there's not unlimited parts in the garage waiting for you, being replaced. So you need to give it all when it counts. So if you crash in qualifying, it's part of the game. If you crash in free practice, maybe as a driver you should have known better. That's always I always try to follow this mantra.
Given Pedro, it's a sprint. I mean, the jeopardy is double now, isn't it? And
True.
Oh my God, I wouldn't want to be James Fowles. I don't know what I'd say to them all right now. I mean, I'd probably say, I'll tell you what, go out, do a couple of laps, bring the car, park it, and we'll start at the back. Just stay out of trouble. Let's get to the race. Let's get to qualifying.
Maybe.
Forget this sprint business.
If they don't know they can actually be really good, then they should take a stake F1 sponsor and say we will gamble this race 100%. If we win, stake is good. If we don't win, well, we did a stake pit stop.
They really need a good result, and they do not need me to remind them that in 2019 Alex Albon actually missed qualifying after a big crash in FP3. so just keep it clean, guys. Anyone else that we should be praising, looking out for perhaps as we go into the Chinese Grand Prix? I mean, RB and Yuki Tsunoda have had 2 cracking races in a row. Haas, very strong performances as well. Anyone else?
Zhou is obviously the guy who's, his home race. How do we assess his performance in F1? I think he's been pretty impressive and pretty solid. I don't think, he's not perhaps set the world on fire, but I mean, he's definitely been better than I expected him to be.
Well, I look back to his race in Qatar last year when he went from last to P9 in the race in those really tough conditions. Remember the heat of Qatar?
Oh my God. And he almost got more points than Williams. That wouldn't be fun.
His race pace, I think, is really strong, and the team has said as much. James Key, the technical director, has said there's nothing wrong with his race pace. If there's an area we need a bit of improvement in 2024, it's his qualifying pace, and frustratingly for Zhou, that's where actually he's been struggling in the last couple of races. He actually lined up last in Suzuka last time out. Yet the gaps are really, really small. But I think he's acquitted himself well. Pedro, you?
Yeah, I agree with you, Tom. I mean, we should not forget how strong Valtteri is on a quali lap. How many times he out-qualified Lewis. So therefore,
Yeah. And how many races did he done win? Not many, okay.
He's facing himself against a very, very strong guy over one lap. So he's possibly facing one of the strongest guys in qualifying as well. So I have a huge respect for Joe.
He's a film star as well. You know that he's produced his own documentary. It's called The First One. It's in Chinese, and the premiere is on tomorrow, actually, Tuesday, of Race Week in Shanghai. So it's a huge week for him, both on track and off track. And wouldn't it be fab if he became the first Chinese driver to score points in his home race? So good luck, Joe, this weekend.
That will be fun.
And gentlemen, can I say good luck to both of you, because we now have Quiz the Nation.
Oh dear.
The moment that I know you've both been waiting for.
Dread.
I don't.
Dread, Tom. It's the part we dread. Well, I do anyway.
Now, look, seeing as we haven't been racing in China since 2019, this feels like the perfect chance to brush up on your knowledge of the Chinese Grand Prix. And as ever, we have 4 rounds: qualifying, sprint, race, and the podium. So, Damon, we'll start with you, because I know how much you love a good quiz.
Nope.
Are you good at pub quizzes, just generally? Or is it just Quiz the Nation that you don't like?
You know, if you give me enough time, I'll get the answer. But I've got to that. I've got to that age where I kind of go, I know this one, and then it takes me about, but someone else has got it by then.
Right, well, prove it.
Yeah, that's what's super funny, Tom Clarkson.
Prove it. So let's go into round 1. It is qualifying. You'll each face one quick fire question worth 1 point. So Damon, which team took their first ever victory at the 2009 Chinese Grand Prix?
First ever victory. 2009.
Look, Tom. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Pedro's got his hand up. No pressure. No pressure.
God, dear. Okay, give it go. Ask Pedro. I don't know.
No. I'm asking you.
I can't even guess.
Go on. Now just think.
First victory, but flipping out. What about this one then? What could it have been? Toro Rosso.
Is that your final answer?
It was. Yeah, go on.
No. So Toro Rosso was Monza.
Monza with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monza with Damn.
And as you will know, so Toro Rosso actually won Red Bull's first race in Formula 1 before the big team which won in China 2009. Sebastian Vettel leading home, Mark Webber.
I can't believe that. Really? That was the first one they won in 2009. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I'm thinking of 2019. That's why I'm... Oh, God. It was a simple error of...
Yeah, it's only one digit. Yeah.
One digit. I was only a decade out.
Pedro, are you ready, Pedro? Which driver earned a drive-through penalty in the 2010 Chinese Grand Prix for jumping the start? The first time he'd ever...
Wait, can you actually get a penalty for that? Notice they don't?
Committed such an offence in his Formula 1 career.
In which year?
2010. Drive-through penalty for jumping the start.
Man, they're really difficult. No, these questions now. I mean, could be Fernando. Fernando, come on. Yeah, why not?
Correct.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was.
We got that right.
I just gambled. It was a massive gamble. I knew he had a penalty, but I didn't really know if it was for a jump start. So it was a bit lucky.
Weird getting penalty for jump start. And also Alonso got it. That's also more weird.
Let's go on to the sprint, round 2. This game is sudden death, and I want you to name the 16 drivers who have finished on the podium at the Chinese Grand Prix since its debut on the Formula 1 calendar back in 2004. Each of you will take it in turns to name a driver. If you give an incorrect answer, repeat one that's already been given, or if you just fail to provide one, then you're out. The last person standing wins a point. Damon, we will start with you. So we're off.
I mean, this man quiz stuff. Eller what the fuck is called them? Why?
The 16 drivers who have finished on the podium.
I feel like
Alright?
so lame stuff.
Lewis Hamilton.
Correct.
Seb.
And this fucking music also. It isn't that epic. And then Tom Clausen tried to sound like this is... I mean, that is actually 100% true sudden death. If one of them says something wrong, someone behind them will just shoot them.
Vettel.
Correct.
Max Verstappen.
Correct.
Oh, that was good.
Why was Max Verstappen even
Because I suddenly thought this is 5 years ago. What happened? Where was he? He wasn't actually running at the front, was he? So maybe...
Fernando.
Pedro, you said Fernando then, didn't you? So Damon, back to you.
On the podium, Valtteri Bottas.
Correct. Pedro.
This is really so hard just to
Daniel Ricciardo.
fucking learn every night.
Really? Blimey. So who else we got?
Tensions building.
Valtteri
No,
Bottas.
there's no
Nico
tension.
Rosberg.
Correct.
Jenson Button.
Correct.
Mark Webber.
Correct.
Oh dear. That was...
Oh shit, one more creeper.
Okay, it's getting tough now, huh? It's getting
There's
tough.
one really obvious one.
Kimi.
Kimi is correct. Yes. Sorry, I was just going down my list. Yes, Kimi.
Yeah, maybe. No, not. I mean, how many years is it really? So, was it 2004 or 2005? Can't do so many names.
There's one really obvious one that you haven't got yet.
There's one really obvious one we haven't got yet. That's ridiculous. Michael Schumacher.
Back to you, Pedro. It's getting hard now. It's getting hard.
Okay, I would say... Oh, I'm going to take a big risk now. I would say... Montoya.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it is.
In which case, you are wrong. Montoya has not finished on the podium at the Chinese Grand Prix. So that means Damon Hill has won the sprint round.
Wow.
And for those of you listening who want to know who else has finished on the podium, there was Rubens Barrichello, who won the first Chinese Grand Prix back in 2004. Felipe Massa, Ralf Schumacher, Giancarlo Fisichella and Danny Kvyat. So those are the 16 drivers. Very well done to Damon. So crikey, you can cut the tension with a sledgehammer. It is now 1-1. Let's go into the race now. This round is what happened
Thank
next.
God.
You're each going to hear some commentary from previous Chinese Grand Prix, and I want you to tell me what happened next to win a point. So Pedro, what happened next at the 2005 Chinese Grand Prix?
Here in the pit lane, a drama. Michael Schumacher on his way to the grid at slow speed to conserve fuel.
Crashed against Christian Alvarez, that was on overtaking him on turn 6, on the approach of turn 6, on the lap to the grid.
Very well done. And
I remember very well about that.
He remembers a turn as well. That's very impressive.
Yeah. Schumacher was given an official reprimand by the FIA, and both drivers had to start the race from the pit lane in their spare cars. Schumacher then spun out.
Well, not a good day for Michael then. That was quite a rare one.
Yeah, it was not a good day for Michael. Right, Damon, what happened next at the 2007 Chinese Grand Prix?
And as you saw, Jenson Button is out there.
Oh! 2007. Can it be Lewis Hamilton?
Into the pits anyway comes Lewis Hamilton.
Hi!
That's an easy one. They basically went off into the gravel trap on the way into the pit lane.
Yeah, most pretty thing ever.
Anyway, comes Lewis Hamilton. He goes straight on into the gravel trap. Can he keep the wheels spinning? Can he get some momentum going? No, he can't. It's all going to get away from him.
In his rookie season, Lewis Hamilton arrived at the penultimate race in China as the championship leader, 12 points ahead of his teammate Fernando Alonso and 17 ahead of Kimi Raikkonen, but struggling for grip as he came in to change to dry tyres at the end of lap 30. Hamilton slid into the gravel and couldn't escape. Raikkonen went on to win the race and take the World Championship in Brazil. So it is 2-2. Guys, let's now head to the podium, the final round of this week's Quiz the Nation, and your task is to reveal which mystery Formula One guest I'm talking about. I'll give you 3 clues, one at a time. If you guess correctly after the first clue, you'll win 3 points. After the second clue, you'll receive 2 points, and after the final clue,
fucking don't scare me like that.
Once you think you know the answer, shout it out. So, clue 1 for 3 points.
No creeper.
This person's idol is Fernando Alonso.
Carlos Sainz.
No.
You.
Am I out now? Is that it?
No, you're not.
I'll get another go. Okay.
Pedro?
Wow, no idea, man.
Okay, well, in case we will go on to clue 2. This for 2 points. This person finished...
I still don't understand. What the fuck is this? How does this game work? I feel like you say what you think, and if you're right, you get the points, but you just keep going. It's like, what the fuck? If you answer again, you don't get the points for the right answer, or what?
Second in the 2021 Formula 2 Championship. 2021 Formula 2 Champion.
Fuck 2022. Let's see. Where do we have Formula 2? Formula 2. Huh. I mean, I think my answer still might be right.
He finished second.
Second? Lando Norris?
He did finish second in Formula 2, but not in 2021 because Lando was already in Formula 1.
Oh my god, come on, old people.
2021. Damn. Let's go on to clue 3. This for 1 point. And
I mean, like, if you answer right with the 3 points, if you answer now, do you get just the 1 point now?
Either of you gets this, you will be the winner.
Shogun,
So we're on to the last lap. Who's going to take the lunge down the inside? This person is the first full-time Formula One driver from their country and will be very popular this weekend.
Joe.
Damon was first. Damon, you are our winner.
No, I was first. Stop lying. I was answered right. The only... Actually, I didn't know what information done. Alonso fan. And that I just heard. And I know Shogun, you have once said that he's an Alonso fan. So.
This is something that many people didn't think could possibly happen today. David Hill wins, and I've got to stop because I've got a lump in my throat.
I think that is Damon's first win on Quiz the Nation.
Really?
Very well done to Damon.
Pedro. We've got to do something because the Spanish keep winning all the tennis tournaments, and so...
It's just basically a quiz to embarrass us all.
Actually, true.
It's achieved its objective.
It's a bit of fun, and for the listeners...
So, did I get 3 points, or did I just get 1 point after the answer?
It just reminds
for the
them
1
of
point
things
also.
that have happened at the Chinese Grand Prix in the past and in the future with Zhou Guanyu, of course. Now, one thing we haven't mentioned yet is the 2025 F1 calendar, which was announced last week.
Yep.
It's interesting because the Chinese Grand Prix is one of the races that's moving. Next year, we'll start in Australia on the 16th of March. Then it's China just 1 week later. So Shanghai will be round 2 of next year's World Championship. for round 3. It's just a short hop to Japan. So those 2 races will be...
So you can keep Jürgen Joe for the start of the season, then you can, if you don't want him, switch up.
Grouped together geographically,
Hello.
as will
Hi,
Bahrain
another
and Saudi Arabia,
driver.
which are moving to April because Ramadan is in March. And looking further ahead, Las Vegas will be the only Saturday race next season, and we will finish in Abu Dhabi.
So shouldn't we remove that race also? I mean, if people don't like Saturday races so much, maybe we should remove Las Vegas 100%.
On the 7th of December. And you can see
And the sprint races, they are also on Saturday. Just remove all the bad Saturday races.
more about next year's calendar on F1.com or the F1 app. Let's check in with our F1 fantasy team now, F1 Nation Racing. The last 2 races in Australia and Japan have been disappointing for us, scoring less than 100 points at each race. Carlos Sainz, Oscar Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda scored a solid haul for us, but our constructor Williams and Alex Albon let us down. So congratulations to winner team FS, who are living up to their name by leading the F1 Nation World Championship. Chuck's Incident is P2 in the standings,
for the form,
ahead
bad
of you
number.
and Callow in 3rd. So many congratulations to you 3. And I won't tell you where we're currently ranked, but all I can say is that you have to keep scrolling for a very long time to find us. And for Shanghai, we're going to make a couple of changes. We're replacing Alex Albon with Fernando Alonso and Williams with RB. So our lineup is Sainz, Piastri, Alonso, Tsunoda and Magnussen, with Ferrari and RB as our constructors. Let's hope our season can finally get underway at race 5. And remember that F1 Fantasy is free to play and you can join our league at any time. Just search for F1 Nation World Championship to compete against us and other listeners. And don't forget, you'll need to make any changes to your team for the Chinese Grand Prix before sprint qualifying starts on Friday.
Okay, come on, get to the more interesting stuff.
Well, guys, it's been brilliant to have you both on the show. Let's end in the traditional way and get your predictions. We need a sprint winner and your podium predictions for the Chinese Grand Prix.
Max Verstappen, sprint winner and race winner. Qualifying winner and practice winner.
Grand Prix. Pedro, you first.
Okay, I will go for Max winning.
Fuck me.
We'll go for Checo second. We've said that Red Bull will be strong, so we just
Red Bull. Sure, Paris second. Charles Leclerc P3.
have to be coherent with what we say in this respectable show. And I would go for interesting one. I would go for Carlos Sainz again. Copy paste from
Yeah, they copy him.
Suzuka.
Yeah. And who's your sprint winner, Pedro?
Sprint winner, clearly Max.
Okay. Damon?
I don't think you can go away from Max for the sprint and also to win the race. I'm going to throw one of the Ferraris. Let's say Charles, because I think that Carlos has had quite a lot of good form. So I think Charles is possibly second place for the Grand Prix, and then Checo.
That's good. But why don't we ask Tom? Tom, what's your prediction? Because
No. I was going to give you my prediction, and I think Max Verstappen. You can't look beyond him for either win. I know you say that McLaren are going to lack straight line speed, but there's something about them.
Yeah, true, Tom Clausen. Keep talking.
That I like. So I'm going to put a Lando Norris on the podium and Charles Leclerc third. So I'm going to go Max, Lando, Charles.
interesting.
Well, thanks very much again, guys.
Gracias.
Gracias. De nada.
And thank you to everyone at home for listening. The show is nothing without you. This week's episode of F1 Beyond the Grid is with the home hero, Zhou Guanyu, and you can listen to that on your pod feed. And please do watch out for it on the YouTube channel, F1 YouTube channel, from Wednesday as well. And don't forget that tickets for Las Vegas, Miami, Austin, Montreal, Imola, Zandvoort and the rest of the 2024 season are available now. Go to tickets.formula1.com.
No.
But other than that, we will be back next Monday from the Shanghai paddock with our review of the Chinese Grand Prix. Thanks for listening. F1 Nation is produced by Formula One and Audio Boom Studios.
Yeah, fuck me. Yeah, that's done finally, man. Let's end the fun stuff with actually fun stuff. Where do we have him? Kym Illman, you have something in China?
Guys, where?
Time to some scam ad, maybe. I don't know, but this the ads for this is so much like a scuffed scam ad.
Live and direct. We're going to the Rafa border. We're going to the Egyptian
the music
on the 4th of next month. It's our obligation to help the Ummah. Guys, what is zakat? Zakat is an act of charity.
The fuck are tattoos? The fuck is this?
And one of the 5 pillars of Islam, and it is a mandatory obligation.
Yeah.
Meaning all Muslims have to do this. There is no way around
100% a believable person.
If your wealth decreases in this dunya, it will increase in wealth in general.
Yeah, where is the person that usually is in YouTube streamer room?
Akhira, inshallah khair. Click the link in my bio and may we help the people of Palestine. Viva Palestine, Viva Palestine, Viva Palestine.
ندك العدا وقرآن ربي لنا موردا.
Yeah, true. 100% legit.
Du Filip, jag har tänkt på en grej.
Ja, vadå?
Det här med att vi säljer dagens rätt för bara 69.
G'day.
G'day,
F1
mate.
is heading back to China for the first time in 5 years. I must admit, the last time I was there in 2019, it wasn't my favourite track. But maybe this year, with Zhou Guanyu on board and a local hero, things will be markedly different. Let's hope so. Let's talk first about the Shanghai circuit. It's about a 45-minute drive from the centre of the city. What's it like in that area? A little bit industrial and not that much of character anywhere near the track, although I do remember a nice shopping area about 3 stops from the track on the train line. It is serviced by a train line, and a word of warning if you are going to this race, you can't drive your car unless you have a pass anywhere near the track. They cordon the whole area off to cars, but you're okay to walk. This was a track that was finished in 2004. It's built by Herman Tilke.
Oh, so they built the track to actually be part of Formula 1.
Builds most of the F1 circuits, and it cost about $240 million US. Now, a lot of the drivers say they love the track, and certainly the first turn is unlike anything we see anywhere else in the world. And what makes this first turn interesting is that there are so many different lines that the drivers can take.
Yeah, true. When they fucking so weird.
The actual pit straight is quite breathtaking when you look at it. Those 2 overpasses are fantastic. Now, the media centre is one of the best that we have on the tour. It's actually at the top of one of those towers, and it requires an elevator trip up. Are the stands full on race day? I'm afraid not. And if you go on, say, the first practice day on Friday, the stands coming up to the hairpin have hardly anybody in there. And photography-wise, that doesn't make for a great shot. In past years, they've struggled to sell tickets to this event, and so much so that the stands at the far end of the track have signage on them promoting Jiading and Anting, which is the area that this track is located in. I'm keen to see whether this year that signage comes off, because Zhou's had such a huge impact that we have a lot more spectators wanting to watch him. The weather at that time of year is typically cool, not cold, and we often get a lot of grey days, although I can tell you that we did...
Fistband, man. So Mercedes can actually be good in this race.
We have blue skies on race day for 2018.
Oh. So they will look good in the practice, and then when the sprint and race start, then they will look
Photography-wise, there are some nice shots. I particularly like the entrance to pit lane, where you see all these buildings in the background. The head-on shot from turn 1 is lovely.
Oh shit. Man, that looks somewhat cool. You have a actually racetrack in them buildings. I don't know, behind it, around it, whatever you can call it. Man, the good old days when Renault was in Formula 1 and also was yellow.
There are also some nice shots of that pit building and grandstand from the exit of Turn 1. Now, having not been there for 5 years, I had to really struggle to think what my experience was like. And the thing that stood out the last time I was there was the size of the paddock. It is absolutely monstrous. It's bigger by a huge margin than any other paddock we go to. And to be quite honest, it's a little soulless. In 2019, the Chinese Grand Prix was the 1000th race. So we had a little bit of signage on there. This year, though, I'm hoping they do a little bit more with it and inject some personality. If you have a look at this shot, you're probably thinking, where are the hospitality suites? Well, they are buried inside these beautiful gardens, and they sit above these little ponds. What that means for drivers is there is a very long walk from their hospitality suite to their garage, typically. Certainly the longest walk that we have at any track. Let's talk about the fans, and we do see a few of them roll up for the drivers' interaction on a Thursday. And my memory was that the police...
Oh, fuck me, that's... Oh, so disgusting. Fuck me. Let's go. Up, cat. That was the biggest jump scare I've been through. The life just flashed by. Will I die? Will I live? Man, that was so disgusting. Fuck me. You stay here. Then I go and kill a skeleton. Apparently I will not kill the skeleton. Okay, we can go back with the police.
We're very officious in keeping the crowds back, and quite frankly they're only 3 or 4 deep, so it's not like a huge Monza crush. And there is a big police presence at the track. But good news, this is an extremely inexpensive race to get a ticket to. You could stand here in the general admission area at Turn 1 for $66 US or thereabouts, and that covers your full 3 days. But if you're looking for a grandstand seat, I think pit straight, you can't go wrong there. And also at the end of the long straight before they turn right at the hairpin, there's a lot of heavy braking goes on there, and certainly you would see some action during the race if you sat in that particular section. And there's seats on both sides of that track, entry and exit. Closer to the track, there are a number of 4- and 5-star hotels which have beautifully large rooms. This is the complete opposite to Japan, where you've got very small rooms and at best 3-star hotels close to the track. Price-wise?
So maybe this is part of the ghost town that China have made.
Pretty reasonable if you get in early, although the teams seem to book out most of the really good hotels. But there's a Hyatt, a Sheraton and many others for you to choose from. What about driving? Well, you'll probably be taking taxis if you're going to be using roads, because unless you have a Chinese license or you're happy to sit a test, you cannot hire a car in that country. I found taxis to be readily available, but you must make sure that they turn the meter on. I was caught once before. Food-wise, what is Chinese food like? Well, it's certainly different to the Chinese food that I've eaten in Australia, but I did find some great restaurants, particularly in the city. Not so much out at the hotels, because it's pretty basic sort of fare, but you can get Western meals at the 5-star hotels near the track. If you're staying in the centre of Shanghai, the bund is quite amazing, particularly at night.
Western food. Is that definition American food? Doesn't sound like a Western food.
Of people, amazing lighting. Oh, and if you're heading out to a bar, make sure it's a reputable one. My brother-in-law got caught once going into a bar and racking up a monstrous bill he had no idea about, and having the security guys escort him to a teller machine to get the several thousands of dollars he was required to pay. Let's go back to 2019, the last time we raced in Shanghai. I remember Daniel Ricciardo, or Avocado as he was known, was very popular. I remember taking these shots of Valtteri Bottas. I was actually lying on the ground and Valtteri walked straight over me with a wry grin on his face. That year we had Pierre Gasly racing for Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg were racing in Alpine. Antonio Giovinazzi partnered Kimi Raikkonen at Alfa Romeo. Alex Albon and Daniil Kvyat were at Toro Rosso. Roman Grosjean, who now races IndyCar, and Kevin Magnussen were at Haas. And it was the first year of Carl Lando at McLaren. Williams-wise, we had George Russell and Robert Kubica racing, and it was the first year that Charles raced for Ferrari alongside Sebastian Vettel. And don't these cars look so much different now? Earlier on I mentioned a couple of nice shots. I neglected to tell you about these stock standard shots where the water gathers on top of these tyre barriers and allows us a reflection shot. And sometimes if there's been no rain, we take our own water bottles out and fill them up. If you go back a year prior, 2018, I got one of the best photos of Daniel Ricciardo's Parc Fermé celebrations after he pulled off a win. Yes, we saw a shoey on the podium, and then he spent some time entertaining us media down in pit lane after the event. Now, one thing I can say with confidence is that you're not watching this video in China. Why am I so confident? Well, YouTube is not available in that country, which is a shame because the market is huge and the opportunity for growth in the sport is huge. My first year shooting at the Chinese Grand Prix was in 2017. It was memorable.
Well, Twitter is also banned, but you can find some people still using it. Maybe have the also CCP support.
Because FP1 was compromised a couple of times with red flags, and then FP2 was completely cancelled because the medical helicopter couldn't land at the hospital, which was some 38 kilometres away, and while the visibility was fine at the track, it wasn't the case at the hospital. Having shot 3 Chinese Grand Prix, I would give it a D, primarily because of the grey skies, lack of atmosphere and low fan.
So maybe it will be different now. Maybe more factors will get the information on stop. I mean, how many days will it be? Max 3 days. You can say 4 days. That all the factories maybe need to shut down to make everyone happy at the race.
Turnout, but I am really hoping that I can bump that up to a C or maybe a B in 2024. Now, did you...
Probably will happen. Consider CCP wanna look bad when the sport is finally back in China and have more viewers than it maybe had before they left.
You enjoyed this video? If you said yes, please hit the like button, and a lot of you, I'm thinking 50%, haven't subscribed. Here's your chance to do it. And if you have a look here at all these different options, you'll find content, merchandise, and a whole lot of information about Formula One. Cheers for watching, and
保持热情。
G'day. We're heading... G'day. F1... G'day.
Yeah, g'day, mate. Long live Pakistan-China friendship. Oh shit, we don't need to watch ads. Man, maybe it's something more. We're soon done with the iron. Nah. Nope, I will not take the flower, sorry. Yay, 64 iron. Man, this is the slowest way to get... Well, not the slowest way to get iron, but it's one of the slowest way to get iron if you want it fast. Can I get some more iron? The Minecraft god has spoken. Okay, so how many days is now? Is 1 to 3 days. You can say 4 days. No, 3. 2 days. 2 days until oh, what do they call it? Formula 1 warm-up. Then it's 3 days until the early practice with qualifying. Then the sprint races, then qualifying for the race. Man, I hate rain. Nice. And now we can leave. What more can happen in the race? Some nice points for Tsunoda. Probably bad points. More or less no points for Lance Stroll. Could be a bad race for Mercedes. I mean, if the information they have now make the cars so bad in races where they probably know how the car should work, how bad will the car be in a track where they don't have any information on? I mean, even Lance Stroll can maybe be better. Probably not. And that will probably never happen this season. Maybe next season, if Mercedes continue to be bad. But yeah, Red Bull easy 1-2, then Ferrari, so Leclerc P3. I don't have any blues in color signs. What more? So 5-6 for McLaren. 5-6. 7 for Alonso. 8 for Yuki Tsunoda. 9 for Alex Albon. And Jürgen Jotan. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Chinese driver finally gets a point this season, and it's in his home race. And no points for Mercedes and Lance Stroll. Now, hopefully the fishes are still there. That would be really not fun if they is not here. That's many chickens. Gotta maybe pick one egg up. Then we need to remove this stuff. Then we can collect more fishes. At least tomorrow. Chicken. And then we need to remove. Or remove. We need to place all the stuff we don't need in the chest. Go away, every bad stuff. And then we need to place back the lava, get the water, and then we can end it. Man, I really should have a bucket with lava on me all the time. Good, this is annoying. Lightning strike. And back to the start place. Yeah, let's see. Is there anything more that could be said? Let's see, do we have any information on Man, Sainz ruined the race for what for Max, what do you say? The win streak for Max Verstappen. Man, just look. Why is that one look in that way? Let's see, who can you get them at? Oh wait, can I? Fuck me. Why? Oh, okay, fuck me. I need to read. It's testing. Fuck me. Okay, yeah, Max Verstappen win. Man, this race will look so weird after all the races have been, because you should have Max P1, Sergius P2, and then you can have Ferrari P3. And I just look, this, man. So after Chinese race with the Max win, Sergio Perez P2, then a Ferrari driver need to win. What race will that be? Oh! No, United States. First band, man. And they will be so much better. Oh shit. Charles Leclerc should win in Monaco, 100%. They won lite too early. Yeah, let's see. Information. So in 3 days and 5 hours and 30 minutes done the testing for me we start. Eller, for everyone we start. Yeah, I have nothing more to say. So until